And welcome back to Minority Reportz podcast and digital series. I'm your host, Mona Sheikh. Very, very excited to be here today. We're like changing up the format because I know that I've been doing Mona's Rant Monday through Friday, but I'm going to do a special thing where every Friday I'm going to bring on a bomb-ass guest, talking about bomb-ass stuff. So that's what we're doing today. So hi, James. Hi, everyone tuning in. Nice to see you guys. Today I have a very, very special guest on. I've just loved and adored this guy. He's a hilarious comic. He just murders the room every time I see him. He is a star. You have seen him on HBO's Insecure. He was a finalist on Last Comic Standing. And if that wasn't enough, he's also an Emmy winner, you guys. Like, seriously, could you make me feel any, less ambitious? Like, seriously. My very, very funny friend, Ron G. Ron, welcome.
What's up, Mona? How you doing?
Oh, man, nice to see you, man. What are you eating?
Some pasta. Yeah, so I was trying to eat real quick, and you introduced me while I was chewing.
So sorry.
This is what it is. It's all good.
I still eat. I don't mind. You can eat. You're hungry. It's dinner time. I get it. It's all good.
So funny. Well, I will be eating during the interview. I hope your people don't mind.
No, they don't mind. Trust me, they don't mind. Just before a few minutes ago, not even, you were telling me that you got married. Now, how long have you been married for now, Ron?
I've been married for a year and a couple of months.
Oh, wow. It's very new. And then you dropped literally dropped the most amazing information on me that you married a Muslim woman.
I did. I don't usually talk about it online, but it's all good. We're here.
I'm sorry. Is that okay? I'm sorry.
No, it's fine. It's dope. I talk about it on stage. I don't really talk about it because I'm still working on the joke about it. But yeah, I married a Muslim woman. She's really dope, man. And I'm just grateful that it's actually been the best relationship I've ever been in my entire life. So I'm glad that we met, and she's pretty dope, man.
That's
amazing. And you'll find out if you're really made for somebody during quarantine. Quarantine help you work all the bugs out because you can't go nowhere. It's easy to be married when both of y'all going and coming, but when y'all live in the same space and ain't nowhere to go, and you're only going at the houses like for groceries, you find out what you're really made of.
Yes. So how has it been? I mean, you guys are newlyweds. Like, how has the pandemic been for you guys?
It's actually been fun, honestly. We got a game show we do called Couples Couch, where basically
I've seen it.
Oh, yeah. So we do Couples Couch, was our game show. I've been super creative, and she's been working on her dreams too. So it's been fun, man. We had this little ritual, especially during Ramadan. We would go for a walk after we broke fast and talk about our dreams and stuff. So it's been cool, man.
You said Ramadan and we break fast. I want to cry. Stop it.
Oh, yes.
This is like tugging at my heartstrings right now, man.
That's so funny. Are you married?
I am not. No.
You're not? Were you married?
I was. Yeah, I was married for 9.5 years. I did not marry a Muslim man, though. I was married to a Greek American man. He was very religious and I wasn't. Although I would fast during Ramadan. I would go to the mosque and, do that kind of stuff. But then I would also go to the church with him and he would light a candle. And, Easter is very big with the Greek culture and the Greek culture. So
is he Orthodox?
He was Orthodox, yeah.
Yeah. That's really tough. Going there is no connection. It's all stand, sit, and hold your hands up, sit down. And I'm I dated a girl who was actually, was it Coptic Orthodox?
Coptic. The Coptics are just Coptics. Yeah, they're no Orthodox. But
okay, yeah, because I was asking, I was like, what do you do if you're going through something serious and you need to talk to somebody in the church? And it was they'll assign you a priest. I'm assign me a priest. I'm what do you mean assign me a priest? Because nobody, black folks, when we go to church, we get down. We sweating, we run around, we go through a lot, and you go through a lot. So you show that outwardly, in church, but they did nothing. I'm so nobody's going through pain or trouble. They was you don't talk about trouble in the church. You get assigned a priest, and then they help you work through it. And I'm how do you? Okay, that sounds very impersonal, but okay, all right.
Listen, what were you raised as?
I was Christian. I'm Southern Baptist.
Oh, hardcore.
Yeah. But my mom, she got church so much that when she raised us, she was like, look, I did my time. I'm not going to church all the time. So we left immediately after service. Some people used to stay and go to Vacation Bible School and all these other meetings. My mom was like, look, I got my sermon. I put my offering in. Let's go home. I got a pot on the stove. So that's how my mom was.
Got it. So you guys weren't because I know that with certain, especially Southern Baptist churches, I've heard that the sermon goes on for hours.
Oh yeah, you go in on Sunday, you get out on Tuesday. So I've been to church and I've seen the sign language lady doze off. So that's what it's like going to church in the South. But but I've become less religious the older I've gotten.
Yeah, is your wife religious? Does she pray a lot?
She prays 5 times a day. She does pray 5 times a day.
Wow.
But also it's easier doing quarantine than it is when you're working, a full-time job. But we both love God, but we're not religious at all. Yeah. And I'm gonna get real deep real quick, but I'll say this. So I believe it doesn't matter your religious background, your ethnical background, or whatever your should is. What matters is, even if y'all compatible, it doesn't matter if you and a person are compatible, because if they're not emotionally intelligent enough to have a conversation with you without walking away, running, or exploding on you, all that other stuff doesn't matter. So if y'all the same religion, and somebody's emotionally illiterate and can't talk through their problems, or if y'all the same ethnic background or nationality and y'all can't talk through stuff, or if you're compatible, if you can be compatible, but if you tell somebody your truth and they snap on you, that's not your person. So all that stuff is like kind of human made, and your marriage is whatever you created. So if you're watching this, your marriage is literally what you create. So you can't live for your parents, because your parents going to tell you who you should marry and what's best for you, and your family going to tell you, and your friends, and most of them are single and they trash anyway, and they saying what you should do. Don't listen to nobody. If you love somebody and there's enough love and grace and forgiveness in them, and it doesn't feel like construction work, because I always say a good relationship is office work, bad relationship is construction work. And you feel like there's enough room for you to grow even while you're trying to figure yourself out, go ahead and do it. All that other stuff don't matter.
I 100% agree with you. I think, look, I've definitely dated fellow like Pakistani Muslim guys, and wow, that was like not my cup of tea, because we were just very, very different people. And I think it's exactly that. Have you read The Love Languages by
Absolutely. 5 love languages? Absolutely.
5 love languages. So, or do you guys ever talk about that? Like, oh, this is my love language, and what's your love language? Are you guys like open about?
We talked about it, but it wasn't a formal conversation, because honestly, her and I are students of life, and us being comedians, Mona, you have to be a student of life. You have to learn and take in everything to learn your craft, because what you don't want to do is be on stage and talk about something and somebody yell out something and you have no clue what they're talking about. So, but it wasn't a formal conversation about our love languages. We kind of just figured it out. And you're like, okay, she loves this. She loves this. Let me not talk about this. If I do, I have to put a little orange juice on it so she can swallow it. But I can't like just be like, why are you tripping on this? Like, I have to be understanding. And that's what love is. I was going to ask you too, because I feel like we don't talk as often as we should, and I believe we're friends even though we don't see each other often. But I think you're such a dope person. I see how well you represent your people, you represent women, and you always like you're a very speak your mind kind of woman. What is it like dating, being a very outspoken woman, being a comedian, and being a woman of color in Los Angeles? Please help me out.
Ron, it's very painful. I think female comics, and I think in general, when we kind of talk, regardless of our backgrounds, we kind of share kind of like that same level of challenges, because, like when you're like as a male comic, right? When a guy is funny and you're like successful and you do what you do, like women love that, because guys are expected to be funny and guys are supposed to be the ones providing entertainment. But with us, it's not like that. Like, we're the ones providing the entertainment. We're kind of doing the sort of a cultural job of what a guy is supposed to do. So now then we come in. So I come across guys who either would first meet me, learn that I'm a stand-up comic, and they'll just like cut me off. They're like, nah, sorry, I can't handle all this. I gotta go. I mean, the second type of guy who tries to demean me, or he tries to put me down, or like come at me with like a sarcastic ways or kind of a demeaning way to put me down because he wants to feel like a big man. I dump his ass real fast. The third kind of guy is somebody who like likes you, kind of puts up with it for a little bit, who's just like, yeah, maybe I can deal with it. But I think then the heat gets a little bit too much after a while. They're like, yeah, I can't. I don't like the amount of freedom that you have on stage, or how outspoken you are. I mean, definitely, like the challenges for me is definitely a lot more with a Muslim guy or a South Asian guy or Middle Eastern guy, because I am an anomaly. I'm a unicorn in the sense that, I don't kind of follow tradition in that sense, that I'm not like going to be this kind of quiet, subservient woman that's just going to bow my head down and be like, you're right, you are the king. And I'm just like, the fuck out of here. I'm like, either you're with me or you're not. So I think that's some of the challenges that I face. There are nice guys out there. I just haven't had the opportunity to meet them, mainly because a lot of the guys I come across are just, it's just a thing. So I recently I just made a post last night, and people are commenting on it like crazy, Ron, and maybe you can enlighten me on this. There is this epidemic, I'm going to call it the dating pandemic in Los Angeles, where a girl starts talking to a guy. After the first date or after a few conversations, the guy just gets very, very sexual very quickly. It's very crazy. In like a nanosecond, you've been talking to the guy. Like,
I do remember you posting that.
Yeah.
Got you.
What is that about, Ron? Like, what is that about? Is that lack of emotional intelligence? Do guys approach women the same way they want women to approach them? Like, because it's all very sexual, it's all very physical. Like, what is that about?
So I feel like when a guy actually becomes a man, there's more emotional nuance and intelligence to your life. When you're young, and LA is a city where you're not forced to grow up in any kind of way. Like, this is the only place I know where it's okay to be 50 and have a roommate and nobody say nothing. Now, no shame if you're fresh off a divorce and life is falling apart and you need a roommate, that's fine. But out here, because it's so expensive and having a roommate, like, the goal is to get famous so you don't need a roommate no more. That's the goal. Where you can get a washer and dryer, you can get a yard and not have a roommate. If you have any of those three things, you are rich in LA because there's no middle class. Well, I believe there's no middle class.
Yeah.
But I think for a man, like, when you grow up and you get mature, like, the things, because even when I met my wife, the thing I realized is I've always gotten by off charm and funny. Most of my life, I met a girl, they already know who I am. I'm charming, I'm funny, and they like me. It wasn't a conversation. But when I met my wife, she didn't care about the tools I had in my tool belt. She didn't care about me being funny or being popular or pre-famous. She was like, I need your heart. And so it made me have more nuance to my emotions. And I learned that, again, with most simple guys, their emotions are happy, mad, and horny. And happy, mad, and horny is not a good recipe for marriage or partnership. That's great for singleness and being the fun guy. And I was the fun guy before, and it was cool. But because I started collecting assets and I started my career, my star started rising, I was like, I need a partner. I need somebody I can do life with, because when you're at this altitude, you start outgrowing people in your life. And, you know, you're a very successful female comedian. So you can't be around silly girls who like ready to fight in the club, or, you know, all they talk about is somebody wearing an outfit, or you can't be around a goofy man who like just want to drink and smoke. Like, you're like, no, I need a partner who can handle my life. And then so your parents have an expectation of you. And then sometimes you can't talk to them because they don't get it. Like, you're in a very you literally live by faith, man. No matter what you believe in, living in LA, you live by faith. You don't know your next check that's coming. So trying to explain to them, like, hey, look, I was on Chelsea lately. I was on a world tour. And they're like, so when you get married, you like, look, it doesn't work like that. There's so many people out there. You should get married. Like, no, it doesn't. It takes time to do that, you know? But also I was going to say for you too, I know it's a challenge because you're a very outspoken woman, you know, and what really, I'm sorry for burping online. I'm sorry. What really helped me was there's another book I read called Daring Greatly. And I don't know if you know about Dr. Brene Brown. She did a TED Talk.
I'm listening to it right now.
Yeah, she did a dope TED Talk on vulnerability. And so for me in my career, I got funnier when I got vulnerable. As an artist, the more vulnerable you are, the more successful you become, because people relate to you, which is why Richard Pryor is the GOAT. Richard Pryor had no shame about who he was, and he talked about it, setting himself on fire and a bunch of other stuff, you know? And so, and then in my personal life, the same thing happened. My wife didn't care about my funny and charm. She wanted me to be vulnerable and and show her my heart. So it wasn't until I gave her that, because I gave my wife a level of my heart that I never gave before. Because before that, I was in a bad relationship. I was literally in love. I'd never been in love before. That was my first one. That was my big joker, you know? But I found out that, and my mentor said this, he said, you're really healed when you can give somebody the same level of access to your heart that you gave the person that broke it. That's when you're really healed. When you can give the same person, the new person who doesn't know anything about your past, the same opportunity to hurt you as the person who actually broke it, that's when you're healed. And my wife's love was big enough where she gave me enough room and grace and love to find myself while I was in her space, because I was still healing when I met her. I thought I was good. I was fresh off a breakup and I thought I was still good. Your pride and ego tell you you're good, but you don't know it until somebody's in your space and they hit that scab. And when they hit that scab, you're like, ooh, okay. Wait, you trying to hurt me? You trying to tell me who I am? You remind me of, and they're like, whoa, I just got here. Why are you tripping? But that was me working on myself. And my wife kept touching my scabs and making me be vulnerable and use my voice. And so happy, mad, and horny didn't work anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. By the way, thank you so much for the sweet compliment. You're so sweet. I've watched your career trajectory. I mean, my God, we've known each other for a long time, Ron. I mean, at least 7 to 8 years, at least.
Right.
I think. Yeah, man, I'm so proud of you and all your achievements, and the fact that you're a married man now and you're married a Muslim woman. That just really kind of tugs at my heart. But honestly, I think this vulnerability thing that you're talking about, it's taken me 10 years. I've been doing comedy for about 12, 13 years now. It's taken me 10 years to finally get to a point where I could start talking about this very, very kind of a difficult past that I come from. I grew up with a lot of physical violence at home. I grew up with like immense amounts of abuse. My dad beat the shit out of me till I was like 15. I moved to the US. I have 4 older brothers. My brothers used to take turns beating the crap out of me. And it was really rough. So I think I've like finally kind of gotten to a point.
You had to be tough.
Sorry?
You literally had to be tough to survive. So I get it.
Yeah. I mean, there was just the softness, femininity had no room where I grew up. You weren't really allowed to be feminine. Your femininity was going to crush you. So I was not feminine for a very, very long time, and rightfully so, because I grew up under very challenging circumstances.
Survival mode.
Survival, right? I mean, it's taken me a long time to put makeup on and to put earrings on to be like, oh, it's okay to be a girl.
You're doing your thing, Mona. You're doing your thing right now.
Man.
Your hair move even after you stop moving. You like that?
Indian dance. No, I think it's just taken me a long time, and I 100% agree with you. I feel like now more than ever before. I did like this Comedy Central reading last year, and I, for the first time, like in very grand detail, talked about my very, very tumultuous relationship with my father. And a month before he passed away, how I confronted him about all the shit that he had done. And it was all very dramatic. And it was. Were
you glad you got the opportunity to confront him before he passed away?
Yeah, I did.
Did that help with the healing, or?
Great deal.
Did it solve it, or it was the beginning of the healing?
It was the beginning of a healing. It was beginning of a very, very big healing part of myself, because, I was married for 9.5 years, and the Greek man that I was married to, that relationship was also very abusive, but I didn't know what abuse looks, I didn't, because I just grew up in abuse. So you just marry another abusive man because, that's normal. That's home to you. And after my father passed away, I had to divorce him because I was just like, I no longer need to be here anymore. I made peace with my father. Like, I'm not trying to fix anything anymore. And listen, I'm not saying that I'm like completely healed, because I think the scars and the wounds are pretty big and I'm still working on healing them. But I think I've just gotten to a point where I have exactly noticed what you just said, which is when you make yourself vulnerable is when you get to the next level. And I've seen what it has done for my career. I've seen what it's doing, continues to do. I'm working on my first stand-up special that I'm very, very excited about. Yeah, I'm very, very excited. And, it's about really talking about exactly just these kind of very, very difficult circumstances to grow up under and trying to figure your life out. For me, it was also the immigrant factor. I moved when I was 15. Like, I was out of the house when I was 18. I didn't know anything. You're like brand new to the country. You don't know nothing. You got no money. You got no career, like nothing. I got nothing. I got just go out there on faith. So I think it's very interesting that I chose a career where it's basically built on faith, because I'm like, fuck, I've been through this before. I can do it again. I can rough it out. I've stood on the sidewalk and sold stuff so I can eat that day. I've done that. I'll do it again. So I think it builds that resilience in you.
And I was going to say for you too, you specifically, man, even though you were not taught to be vulnerable and feminine, I believe that your vulnerability is literally your boarding pass to the next level in your career. Because one, you've been through so much, but it's a different thing or a different vantage point. Women know that you're the truth. when they hear you speak, they know you're the truth, because it's something about people who have scars from life that you can just tell they know what they're talking about. Even if they don't have the degree, even if they don't have the formal training, when a woman or a human being goes through something and you can feel their scars when they talk, you're like, I believe them. And I feel like God intentionally made you go through everything you had to go through to be a voice to a lot of women that you haven't even met yet. So the other side of that is the vulnerability, because to see a strong woman share who she is and share her vulnerability, but own it and not make it like I'm a victim and I'm not going to share this with you because I don't want you to hurt me. For me, even in Black culture, you're taught to be tough and strong and you got to have it all together. And, even in your household, you're taught to be strong and have it all together. But in this world will chew you up if you're vulnerable. But the catch is you got to learn how to be vulnerable and own it. Never give more than you can afford to lose. As a man, you have to learn how to be a lion and a lamb, particularly a Black man. In America, you got to be a lion and a lamb at all times. But in my household, I'm responsible for being a lamb because I want my wife to feel protected. Even when I'm mad, I want her to feel protected. If I have a little baby girl or my son, I want them to feel protected and loved and know that you don't mess with dad, but also dad will have your back at all times. And I'm soft enough to do both. And it helps me in my acting. And for you specifically, when a man comes into your space, if you give off, I don't need a man for nothing energy, it's already attractive to us. But what's going to keep us is there's enough room for me to be a man inside her space versus trying to be tough because you don't want to be vulnerable and you make him feel small because you don't want to be vulnerable and you want him to own your vulnerability versus you just saying, look, this is what I require. I've been through a lot. I've been mishandled most of my life. I like you and I will give you my heart, but I'm asking you to honor that, and show respect and show me reverence by my honor my vulnerability, because I don't have to give this to you because I like you enough. I'm giving this to you. I want you to honor that and show regard while I'm in your space. And you say that to him. And if he does anything outside of that, he's not your person. Because I believe, and I know nobody says this, but I feel like women, y'all have all the power in dating. And sometimes women, you give power to a man who doesn't even deserve or want the title because you want acceptance from him. But also dating is collecting data. And if you're collecting data and seeing if this person is your person and you say, this is what I need to feel happy. If you say, please don't yell at me, I've been through a lot. Please don't ever put your hands on me. Just if you're going to say you're going to do something, honor it. If you say I'm going to call you back, do it. And if he shows you anything different, leave. You don't have to give him sex and be a wife and all this other stuff. And then he disappeared. Now you're mad at him for not showing up. And you mentioned earlier, I'm running my mouth, but you mentioned earlier.
This is great.
Why do guys lead with sex? If you're not looking for nothing, you tend to lead with sex. You know what I'm saying? That's all he has to offer. You know what I'm saying? But when a man actually wants you, he doesn't want to share you with anybody. So that's if you want to be a woman and be like, look, we both being grown, this is what we're doing, then own that. Don't expect him to owe you anything after y'all have sex, and then his job is not to manage your vulnerability. But if you choose not to have sex with him, you say, look, I like you, but I can't do this unless I'm in a relationship, or at least we've been kicking it for a while and I need to know that you're not sharing this with everybody else. And he runs, that's your answer. So again, I always say, never lend more than you can afford to lose. So if you lead with sex, that doesn't affect you. Let him lead with sex. That's fine. One thing, you're sexy. Either you're sexy or you're just a number to him, but you determine that. But I'll say this too about especially really dope women. I feel like women are incubators and they can change the environment. One of the gifts my parents gave me is I can walk into any environment and change the vibe, whether it be a relationship, the club, on stage. When I walk in, I can change the entire mood. People feeling bad, I have a prophetic gift to give people where they feel good when they laugh at me. You have the same gift too. So when you show up in his life, you automatically make his life better, because women, y'all see our blind spots. I have a joke about my wife is, women make you the best version of yourself, even when you don't ask for it. You know what I'm saying? Good women will tell you about yourself. My wife be like, look, that shirt is trash. Go brush your hair and brush your tongue. Okay. And then put this on your beard so it connect. I'm like, baby, look, all I wanted was some cereal. I don't need all the criticism, but I know it makes me better, but it doesn't feel good. So you being a woman who's been through a lot, you see a man's blind spot when you show up, but is he ready to deal with that? Is he ready to have you see him naked and be comfortable with that? But that's a very unique space that people in LA get to, because in LA, it's about being successful and not about working on personal growth. And if people chase God the way they're chasing a career, they'll be okay. But most people just chase the career and think just because you're cute and good at your job, that's enough. And that's not enough to be a good partner. That's why I said you're a threat to a lot of them. But if you're doing vulnerability and you're owning it and you showing them themselves too, just keep being great. That's it.
You know what it is, Ron? Like I feel like with me, it's like whenever for me, you have to show me that I can trust you. Like you have to earn my trust in order for me to show that.
Is that fair though?
Huh?
Is that fair?
Is that fair? Yeah, I feel like it is.
But it's almost like you're making them take a test they didn't ask to take.
I feel like, so here's the thing. It's not even so much a test.
Oh, this is about to get good. Go ahead, Mona. Go ahead.
So this is what it's about for me, right? I don't want to put somebody through like jumping hoops to like, get to my heart. You have to tear these walls down. Like it's none of that bullshit game, right? I don't play that game. I don't want to do that for a guy. I don't want a guy doing that for me. However, if a guy, I have to, it's like Beyonce says, like, first I got to read you. Like, before I give you, I got to read you first. Like, just like you're reading me, I got to read you. If you're leading with like, oh, I just want to get laid by the third date. And it's like, you don't deserve my vulnerability. You don't deserve that side of me. It's like, you're telling me that you just want to get laid, and that's fine. I don't judge you for it. I'm just not your girl. But if you come at me like, hey, I want to get to know you, like, tell me more. Tell me more about Mona. Like, what makes Mona Mona? Oh, okay. I'll tell you what makes Mona Mona. Then I want to know what makes you you too. But if you're leading with these guys, I feel like, I'm sorry, Ron, not you, but I think some of the guys that I've come across, they're just fucking stupid, man. Guys just say the dumbest shit.
And let them be stupid. So you shouldn't be frustrated by people who aren't your person.
Yeah,
my mentor gave me some good advice one time. He said, because I had a problem with being vulnerable. Like, I grew up in a household where my dad used to drink. So in that kind of environment with somebody who's when you're a child of a parent of substance abuse, I never felt like I had a voice. I never felt like I can just say how I feel, because depending on how much they drunk, I would get a different response,
Yes.
And so that was my thorn most of my life. So I was like you. I just protect myself. I had a very slick mouth, and I would say mean, slick stuff because you would never get the best of me. And my dad gave me some really bad advice one time about how to talk to women, and it didn't work when I got older. I'm like, that ain't it. And so what happened was,
nice, Ron. I want to hear.
I mean, he was like, just basically never let a woman talk down to you. Like never. And then he didn't mean anything by it, but sometimes people preach from their own pain,
Sure.
And so me taking it out of context and making it what I thought it was, I used to say very mean and hurtful stuff to women because I didn't know any better. But then when I matured, I started being vulnerable, and I feel like God, because of the environment I was raised in, God gave me a really soft and tender heart where I feel people's problems. When I'm around people and they dump and tell me, I feel all that stuff, and I hate that I'm like that, but that's kind of how I am. And then I would meet a girl.
You're an empath? Is that what you
Right. And I would tell a girl, like, yo, you hurt my feelings. And they were like, oh, you sensitive. You a sensitive man? Why would you tell me? And I'm like, first of all, I'm telling you how I feel so you don't guess. I'm giving you a cheat sheet to my heart so you don't have to guess. Because when a man stops talking, he's very dangerous. A quiet man is a very dangerous person. He can have a whole nother family and you won't know. And so I told my mentor this, and he was like, the truth is, it doesn't matter what women think. Because I thought like maybe women don't like nice guys. They don't like vulnerable guys. But it doesn't matter. I just need one woman that gets it. You just need one woman that get it. So for your vulnerability, you need one guy. It doesn't matter what all guys say. It doesn't matter. If you're in this guy space and they're leading with sex, they're not your person. And it's okay. Like, it's completely fine. But if you see somebody and you feel safe in their space and you can kick your feet up, unloosen your bra and just lay down on the couch like this. Unloosen the bra and just lay down on the couch like this.
Yeah.
And it make you feel that's something worth investing. So it's not even worth it to talk about the bad guys. You're going to frustrate yourself, and it's never going to end. This world's full of crazy people. Like,
it's like 95% of the guys that I come across are like that. That's a very, very big number. And I asked other girlfriends. I was like, yo, is it just me? Like, do you go through this? Are you come across dudes who, like, in a nanosecond just want to talk about sex? They want to lead with sex. Like, and they're like, yep, going through that too. New York City also, exact same issue. So that just got me thinking. I was just like, is it lack of emotional intelligence? Or is it because the guys are attracted to you and they just don't know what else to say in order to tell you that they like you?
It's a little bit of both. But I feel like not most guys, but it's easy to date a girl who doesn't challenge you to be the better version of yourself. It's easy to date a simple woman who just wants your money in exchange for some sex. Like, it's easy to date that girl. But again, a woman like you you got follow-up questions. If he tell you something, you like, really? Tell me more.
I have really? A lot of follow-up questions.
And your follow-up questions would frustrate him because, again, you're a comedian and you're a scientist. Like, we're a science of comedy and we study people for a living. So a guy can't just give you a blanket statement. He can give the average chick a blanket statement and she'd be like, oh, that was kind of weird. Why did you say that? But she'll say it to herself. You would be like, nah. So when you said you was this, then what does that mean? And he like, whoa, wait, you following up, man. That's weird. But that's who you are. So he has to be able to stand in that space too. And another problem you're going to have too is because you're a very powerful woman and your career is going to take off. He got to get comfortable with not having a name.
Yes.
His name is going to be Mona's guy, or Mona's boo, or Mona's husband for the rest of his life.
He's successful in his own right, doing his own thing.
Which is dope if that's the case. But again, if he's not working on that in his life, and he's like in your world, he's going to be Mona's boo. But in his world, hopefully you'll be so-and-so's boo. You know what I'm saying? But if he ain't got nothing going on, he going to be very intimidated by you. That's why I was like, you got to just stand at your full height, straighten your back up, just be strong and be vulnerable at the same time. And if they don't receive it, like, it's okay. Like, it's completely fine. Just keep moving.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, no, thank you. This is actually something that's really empowering. And thank you for sharing that. I think I've been feeling like, I'm just like, look, I am not like, I don't walk around like a victim. I don't want to come across as a victim. I'm somebody that has went through tremendous adversity to be where I am today. And I continue to, kind of push boundaries and just kind of do my own thing. And I feel like most of the guys that I come across are just not at my spiritual level. They're just not. They're just
okay. It's completely fine. If they don't count, don't stress about them because they sleeping good without worrying about you. And you sound frustrated about some dudes that ain't even here right now. So don't even.
Yeah, you know what it is? It's not even just one. It's just like the buildup, right? It's just like this guy's like that, and that guy's like that too, and that guy's like that too, and this person's like that too. So like, what's happening? I had somebody tell me, they're like, "Wow, you really know how to attract them." I'm like, "Fuck off!" I'm like, "It's not that I know how to attract them. That's what's present." LA is a very challenging city to date in. I mean, I'm sure even as a guy, you had your share of challenges.
It's tough. I can't remember the last time I dated somebody and wanted to see them again before my wife. Like, just go on a date and be like, yo, I can't wait to see you again because it's so many layers to LA. Because then I was the nice guy who most of my career I've been trying to, get my money right. And I'll be the guy who show up at your house with one rose, and your parents like me and you like me, but I'm competing with the guy who pay your rent.
Jesus.
So what do I do? And I'm sitting there like, why did you ghost me? And they were like, why are you thirsty following up? I'm like, well, you told me what you were looking for and you complained about all the stuff guys didn't do. I showed up, I planned a date, made a picnic and all your favorite stuff, and then you disappear on me. And now you're mad at me for following up. Like, just say, I don't like you because I'm still healing in something else, or I'm in love with the jerk who, to me, you're my love. And to him, you're Tuesday, but you'd rather be Tuesday than be with somebody who's there because my money ain't right. That's right.
That's right. No, I 100%. You know what it is, Ron? I think for me also, it's not even so much. I mean, look, I've dated guys that didn't have money. I've had guys I paid for because they didn't have money to get through the weekend. So I gave them money. And it's not like I come from money. I was dirt poor, I didn't have any money. And I just kind of worked my way up. It's not even about that. It's just like, dude, but have some fucking ambition. Know what the hell you're about. Have some spiritual awakening, like have something where you have it together that makes me go, oh, wow, I can actually build something with this person. But if you come at me with, want to see my dick pic? And I'm like, yeah, nah, dude, I'm out on that one. I'm good. I had a guy recently tell me, he was just like, oh yeah, literally not even on the second date, after the first date, we were talking the next day. And he goes, yeah, he's like, so what's like your sex drive like, right? Like, I just want to know. And I was like, what? Why would you go there right now? Like, why do you need to know that? He's like, well, I just want to know because, like, if you're like a sexual person, I was like, we're humans. Human beings are sexual beings, period. Like, there's no mystery to this. So I was so that kind of stuff that just really throws me off. And I'm just like, yeah, that's just.
You have fun with them. Have fun with that. Because I'm sure you probably at that point, because again, I can see I'm sure your face would have him on suicide watch just by your. At that point, just have fun. Be like, look, you want to show it to me? Pull it out right now in the restaurant. Like, pull it and challenge him. No, pull it out right now. Matter of fact, if you right now. And when he do it, have a good night and walk off.
Listen, Ron, they end up on stage is where the fuck they end up. So that's where I kind of.
Hey, that's what, like, if you're gonna do it, have fun with it. Like, yo, like, don't take that stuff personal, man. Dudes are stupid.
Right?
People are stupid.
Listen, man, when I get a dick pic, I find a dick pic and I send it right back to them. I'm like, you send me one, I send you one back, right? That's how that shit works. So where did you meet your wife?
I actually met her at the Laugh Factory.
Was she was a guest. She was
a guest, but she was also with a friend of mine. Yeah. We had a mutual friend, and my mutual friend threw me an alley-oop. She was like, y'all need to meet each other. And my wife wasn't paying me no attention because she had to find her sister apparently immediately after the show. And I think she was getting harassed by some dudes too. So that made it worse.
Oh, but, at the show she was getting harassed?
I mean, like just all the comedians were trying to talk to her or whatever. And I was kind of just talking to everybody. Huh?
Was she sitting in the front?
It was just her and her friends, and all her friends were cute, and everybody's trying to talk to them. But for me, I was just saying hello. And her friend was like, kind of put us in front of each other, like, y'all need to talk to each other. And she wasn't paying me no attention. And I was trying to talk to her. And then that night, we had a cool conversation on the sidewalk. I said, hit me when you get in. And so I started texting her. And so I wanted to talk to her when she got home. And she told me later on, she was like, you was thirsty. I was like, I was thirsty because I wanted to talk to you. I was like, I like you. Where I'm from, if I like you, I'm going to show you that I like you. Well, you don't have no conversation about it, you know? Yeah. And later on, she was like, she's thirsty. I'm like, she said I was thirsty. But I'm like, but if we're in a relationship and I don't call you daily or check on you, it's a problem. But when I'm trying to pursue you and I'm showing you the actions that you want, you're calling me thirsty because I call you the same night. What's in your head about when I should have called? You know?
Yeah.
But we actually ran from each other for like 6 months because we would trade war stories about dating. And again, I've only dated church girls like my entire life. the girls I committed to were all church girls.
Okay.
And I realized that most of them had like heart issues, whether it be dad or somebody broke their heart, and I'm a fixer. So I would try to fix them and make their life better. And I would trade war stories with my then at the time girlfriend. And she would be like, that's stupid. Why would a girl do that? And I was like, well, that's what she did. And she was like, no, I would do this. I'm like, but you're not Christian. Why would you do that if you're not Christian? She was like, that ain't Christian. That's just common sense. And I was like, oh. And one day I took her out and I was like, I think I love you. And she was like, I think I love you too. And I was like, that was it.
Wait. You guys were in love with each other even before you went on a date?
Probably so. No, we went on a couple of dates, but I think I realized I loved her because the struggle of being a single man was just like how you are. I had to cut and paste everybody I dated. In order for me to get the woman I wanted, I had one girl, we had dope conversation. One girl, I enjoyed her company, but whatever reason, just it didn't cross over. Like she was the fun girl, but she wasn't functional in a partnership. Or one girl, we have dope sex, but communication be trash. Or one girl, we talk about spiritual stuff, but she's too like square to like be able to take her out in public, or she was a terrible dresser. And when I met my wife, she filled up most of my boxes to where I was like, I can't have these women lingering while I have somebody I'm entertaining, because I don't want these women to occupy any space that my wife doesn't, you know?
Right.
And so I had to get rid of a lot of them. And it was a tough transition. And that's when I realized I didn't have a lot of guy friends, because I've always had a lot of female friends and it was never a chore. And, you know, most of them probably like me, but you kind of sort of tell, but you don't know. Right. But when I got her, I was like, yo, I can't keep entertaining these other chicks if I'm pursuing her. And I literally gave her my entire heart, which I never did before, because I dated somebody before I gave her my heart, but we would break up and then it'd be weird and kind of muddy. And I go back and I still have people that I talked to when we were off, still kind of reaching out to me while I was back with the girl. We break up a few times. I'm like, yo, it got messy after a while. You know what I'm saying? So, but with my lady, I gave her my whole heart. And I feel like most men never get to that point where I feel like, fellas, if you're watching this, if you meet somebody you like and you think they're dope, try giving them your whole heart and see what it feels like. Like, just try it. If you like them and it's, you don't want to share them with everybody else and they seem to be a good girl, just see what it feels like to give a woman your whole heart. Because I always say women multiply whatever you give them. You know, you give them groceries, they'll make a full meal. If you give them a headache, they will give you hell. You know what I'm saying? If you talk mean to them, they will make sure they will destroy you. You know what I'm saying? But if you talk kind to them, they will multiply it and give you everything you ask for. And so for my wife, one dope thing about her is everything I complained about with my ex, my wife naturally did it and I didn't even have to ask her for it.
Wow.
Like literally all the stuff that I would beg her, like, look, in order for me to feel good, I need this. My wife would naturally do that stuff. And we didn't have a conversation about it. I'm like, why do you do that? And she was like, well, why would you not do that? Like, you're a beautiful man. Why would I not compliment you? I was like, I'm beautiful. I'm gorgeous. Yeah, I'm gorgeous. I'm delicious. You call me delicious?
You gorgeous man, you. That's amazing, dude. That is such a beautiful thing to hear. Honestly, Ron, like, I think like going on all these like kind of weird dates and just kind of coming home and you're just like, is there like there are 7 billion people on this planet. Is there like, where is this person? Like, how hard do I have? Do I have to travel to Siberia to meet this person? Like, where is this person?
They're in LA, and you have to be ready for the love you say you want. One is two. You mentioned, I'll just say it. You mentioned I have to trust you in order to give you vulnerability. I feel like you should, I don't want to say should, but I feel like I got more effective response when I trusted somebody till they gave me a reason not to. Again, it's almost like I trust you, but you're talking about dick pics on date one. I don't trust you.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like I'm giving you an open platform to love however you love, because I don't want to be in my head about what love should look like. Because I've seen girls miss out on their blessing because the guy wasn't packaged how they want him to be packaged. You know what I'm saying? The love of your life could be 5, 7.5, but but you have to have, right. But you have to have enough room in your heart. It's almost like you can look at a person's car and tell if they're ready for love. Because if your car is always junky, you're not ready for company. If your house is always junky, you're not ready for company. But sometimes you got to unpack your heart and make room for the love you say what you say you want. And you don't have to be perfect, but still be aware of the stuff that you're carrying from your childhood when you bring it to somebody. Like, look, one thing me and my wife dealt with was, I'm like, look, you can't yell at me. When we have a disagreement, you can't yell at me because you remind me of my dad. You remind me of my childhood, and I don't respond well, because if you yell at me, it's going to trigger me, and I can't protect you. I can't protect you if I got to protect myself from you. So don't yell at me to make your point. I hear very well. I'm never stuck on my opinion. If you make your case and you're not yelling at me, I will gladly hear. But if you yell at me and smash on me, I can't hear it, and I'm gonna shut down, and I'm gonna protect myself, and I don't want to get there with you. I don't want to keep my guard up in my house. My guard should be down in my house. My house should be the safest place on the planet. And that's one thing I believe, especially when God said in the Bible about Adam naming all the animals. He gave Adam an assignment to name all the animals. And whatever a man names something, it's what it is. You know what I'm saying? If I call my lady beautiful, to me, she's beautiful, and that'll produce a fruit. That's seed will produce a fruit. You know what I'm saying? If I told my wife I want my house to be the safest place on the planet, being a black man, I was like, look, every time I leave that house, somebody either wants to take my light or take my life, So when I come home, we don't do hard art. We don't talk to people strong. We don't have hard lines. People make mistakes and life happens. You know what I'm saying? We pillow fighting. We not, we can have our little disagreement, but your food is on the stove. Like, I don't need to go back and forth about, like, don't yell at me. You know what I'm saying? But I have to start that. As a man, I have to be responsible for what I want my house to feel like. So that was something that I told my wife about, and I told her my boundaries. And Mona too, you teach a man how to love you. You teach a man how to love you. So again, you set your boundaries. If you leave me with a dick pic, you're not your person. But if you're like, look, that's not cool, and that don't make me feel safe. If you want to get to know me, I'm open for that. But if that's how you deal with women, that's not what I want to be a part of. So
right.
There's nothing to talk about.
No, I 100% agree with you. Ron, I'm just listening to you, and I'm thinking, like, do you do like, I know you do the couples couch thing, but do you ever, like, have you ever thought about doing, just kind of giving lectures on exactly what two single guys? Like, you're fucking
That's
good.
so funny. So this is actually my passion. My passion is personal growth for men. I got a podcast. If you're tuning in, it's called the 2-Piece Podcast, the number 2 PIECE podcast, and it's on personal growth for men. And I started it because I realized a lot of me and my friends, we were all bleeding and having issues, but we never talked about it because men, we like Sports Center. We talk about the bullet points. We like, hey, what's going on? What's the score of the game? And how the ladies treating you, but we don't talk about the details. And we chase success, but we don't talk about the things that you need to work on while you're chasing success. And so my podcast was basically a starting point for men where, women, y'all have conferences and brunches and all these cool self-help books, but men don't have nothing. All we got is women, wine, and weed. And we out here destroying lives until we slow down and be like, this is not working and it's not sustainable, So my podcast is literally to help men out. And also for the women, my podcast is like big brother information. So the stuff I'm telling you, it'll be the stuff that you would want your big brother to tell you. So my podcast is the 2-Piece Podcast. Check it out. And I do have a passion for that, but I also feel like part of that mission is once my star has risen enough, then guys will listen. When you're rich and you have a dope wife and you got your career popping, most people be like, I want that. But until you get that, and they're like, well, you just like me. You can't tell me nothing. And I only been married for a year, but I also feel like God was like, you need to be married before I take you off. Because when you take off, you got somebody in your space to look at your blind spots. Because before that, we got a lot of successful friends who are single. Yeah. And being single and everybody getting a check from you is dangerous.
Yep.
versus being single and the person that's closest to you don't care about your money. They don't care about your fame or your title. They're like, look, my wife would be like, she cool, but she got stripper charm. I don't like her energy. She got a little stripper charm. I don't know what she got going on, but stripper charm is when a woman makes you feel like she like you, but she don't. She just wants something from you. She got stripper. I don't like that. Or that guy.
I've never heard of that before, actually.
It's a Ron G-ism. And also that guy, he dapped you up, but he tried to talk to me. Or he was looking at me when you walked off. You know what I'm saying? Like that kind of stuff. So having somebody like that in your space while you're climbing is better than being up there by yourself. Because once you get successful and you did it by yourself, why would you need to add somebody to it? That's why you're doing prenups and all this other stuff. You're like, I don't need you. I did it by myself.
That's right. That's very interesting. I think about that quite a bit about, it's just like, I hustle really hard. I work really hard in my career. And I'm just like, man, it's like everybody, of course, just like you, just like me, we want to get to that point where just like you're a household name, you're flying. To me, I know that I've made it when I start flying private. Like, to me, that's
right. And you're going to go to the back of the plane next to the bathroom.
Yeah. You're flying private, you're just
right.
Like, your car's pulling up on the runway, you're getting dropped off like that, like some like baller shit. It's like, I don't know, maybe I've put the standard up too far, but that's kind of my bar of like, oh shit, like now I've made it. I don't have to fly commercial anymore. But I feel like I'm like listening to you and I'm just like, man, that's a lot of really good stuff. I mean, I'm listening to, like, Bill Burr does this thing on his podcast where he's like constantly giving advice to guys about how to like deal with their female issues. But I feel like yours comes from a very like a deep spiritual place and also from a place of healing, which is exactly right. A lot of men don't even know that they're bleeding. They don't even know. They're just going like hurting people because they're hurting. So they don't know. They're just doing what they feel every day. They're just passing off. And I feel like something like what you're offering is so unique and amazing.
Another thing too, I was going to say is LA. I like LA because LA is a playground, and it's a playground and a classroom, because everything you were born with, you have to unpack it in order to survive in LA, because the normal back home doesn't work out here. Whatever your normal standard of, my church is here, my mosque is here, my family's here, all my friends are here. I can go over to this friend's house and hang out all day and do nothing. LA is not like that. All my friends are associated with what can we do and who can we meet while we're doing this thing, Yeah. So what I had to learn was to be careful with my words. One, with myself, because this city will make you depressed because you're watching people like you're pure stand-up. I know you're dope at what you do, and you like podcasts and stuff like this. But at the same time, if you can make a living doing stand-up, you would love to do that. But we're not allowed to do that anymore, because as a comedian, you got to be a producer, director, editor, podcast. You got to learn how to edit your videos, do flyers. You got to do everything. And people think it's just about being funny. It's not enough. Yeah. So you're watching people on social media skate past you who have 100,000 followers and 2 minutes of material. And then you get bitter because I'm kind of like on the new school, the old new school, meaning I was the generation where if you do a late night stand up, your life would change. If you do Last Comic Standing, your life would change. I was the last tail end of that, where when I did Last Comic Standing, they had a huge reality portion, and reality portion, as soon as the camera come in, everybody started tap dancing and doing funny stuff. I'm not that person. I'm grown. I'm a homeowner. I'm not tap dancing because the camera came on and pulling out a water gun, shooting people because it's good for camera. I'm not doing that.
What does being a homeowner have to do with that?
No, just because my mentality is different. When you live with your parents, you can take a little bit more risk. When your parents pay your health insurance, you can be a little adventurous and crazy and jump in front of a car and ride a bike in traffic. But when you pay your own insurance, you're like, look, I got to work in the morning. I can't be getting hurt. And I personally don't tap dance with people. And I'm the only black person on the show, so I'm mindful of what that looks like. You know what I'm saying? It's an unspoken thing that you have to do. But my point was, you get bitter being out here because you're watching people skate past you with half the talent and haven't done a third of the work. So God checked me. He was like, don't be like that, because they got something that was not meant for you. You need to celebrate everybody who is doing well, because you don't want to be rich by yourself. You want to be celebrated too when your time comes. So, you have homies that are really good people and they win and you like glad they win. But then you have some people in your class, you like, they don't even work out. They don't even get on stage. How do they get that? And that's how you really feel. But I had to learn on unpacking my own junk and celebrate everybody and know that when my time comes, it's going to come. So also, I'm telling you this for relationships. I used to talk very bad about myself in relationships. And I used to always talk about the women that didn't like me and all the other stuff. But no, I started talking kind to myself. I said, I'm dope and I'm going to meet my person. My wife is close to me and I know I'm going to meet her. She just need to get her act together and leave that sorry dude alone, whoever it is. And I'll meet her when it's time. So for you, your words matter. You have a career based off your dreams. You saw what you're doing right now in your head. You saw yourself flying private. That's going to happen. You know what I'm saying? You speak highly of yourself with your career, but do you do it with your own relationship? So the relationship you say you want, see it. See yourself coming home to your husband and snuggling with him, and you put your cold feet on him and y'all lay in the bed and talk about how terrible people are and racist stuff. Like, see that in your head. See what your house look like, the little dog, babies if you want some. Like, see that stuff and be kind with your words. So that's why I'm like, the guys who do the dick pics, they don't even matter. Don't speak about them. LA is full of those people. That people make friends in LA off bad relationships. That's it. Oh, you think dudes are crazy? Oh, I think they're crazy. We should be friends because the guys are crazy. Let's talk about that. But outside of that, are you really friends? So for you, I'm just saying, be kind to yourself. Always say, look, I know I'm dope and he's right around the corner. When people say, man, when you going to blow up? I always say, look, I'm blow up in 2 weeks. I'm unaffordable. I'm pre-famous. I don't know when. I've been saying this for the last 4 years. I'm unaffordable and I'm pre-famous. It's going to happen. I don't know when. And sometimes I get depressed. I get sad because I'm like, God, I'm tired of having this hope in my heart and I see nothing because I feel like it makes my heart sick when I'm very hopeful and I don't see anything. But with your relationships and your career, always talk kind to yourself and always use kind words. Never say, try not to say anything negative about yourself. And if you do, and cry and get it out. Next day, I'm Mona. I'm dope. When I show up at these comedy clubs, they need me. You need my voice in these comedy clubs. That's why I'm a dick about my pay. You're going to pay me. Pay me what I'm worth. When I show up, I'm going to change the energy and change the environment. You need me. So me telling you my quote, and if I quote you $3,000 and you're like, we don't have that kind of budget. I'm like, but you had him on your show and you paid him more and he's not funnier than me. You're going to pay me my money.
That's right. That's right. I actually, I just eat a bunch of ice cream and chase it with some tequila. That's usually
at the same time.
Huh?
At the same time?
Sometimes, yeah.
I am so lactose intolerant. I can just get gas. Think about ice cream and liquor at the same time.
And then I do a shot and then have a good night. That's kind of sometimes when I'm in that mood. I actually wanted to ask you, how long have you been doing comedy for, Ron? And did you start in LA?
No, I started at the end of 2004. I started in 2004. Oh, and
you've been yeah. Huh?
And what was the other question?
Did you start in LA or where did you start?
I started in Atlanta. I started in Atlanta and kind of got my chops there. And Atlanta, they boo you severely. So that's when I came out here fearless. If you see me with a fast pace and I'm real high energy because I was running from the boo, and that's how I learned. So in the rooms I started in, the hood rooms, they booing you as soon as you start talking. So my pace was fast and I had to be high energy, and I'm clean too. So I had to figure out how to get the most funny in the shortest period of time before people changed on me. So when you see me perform, like, that's part of why I'm high energy, but I love what I do, man.
Listen, I can't imagine. Like, when you started off in Atlanta, were you getting booed a lot because the rooms are just so tough? Like, is that?
Yeah, I was doing Apollo night in Atlanta. Atlanta, you performing for dope dealers and strippers. Like in LA, on a Tuesday night, people would spend $20 to get in the club. They would spend $20 for parking and another $60 on drinks. That's $80 to $100 on a night of fun. In the South, you in a bar where it's full of smoke, the TV's on, people only came for the game, and you performing in a corner, and they're like, why are you here disrupting my game? So in those environments, you're taught to like grab the people's attention by any means necessary. So it just it made me battle tested. So when I moved to LA, ain't nobody in LA booing unless you really trash. Nobody's booing out here. So now it just makes me fearless, and I don't care what people think anymore. I perform for myself. So when you see me perform, I don't need people's approval. Like, I know I'm funny. I've been all over the world. These jokes are tried and tested in the fire, and you can't tell me I'm not funny.
Yes. Yeah, absolutely. I mean, chocolate sundaes, like you've been hosting chocolate sundaes for how long?
Somebody said 6 years. Could have been more.
6 years? Dude, every time I've seen you host, you just murder. Like you come. I don't think I've ever seen anybody command that room when they host like the way you do.
Thank you.
Never seen anybody. Never seen anybody run that room the way you run it. Like you run it like such. You run it like an OG because that's why you got the Ron G in it.
Yeah, I put the OG in Ron.
Yeah, G. OG and Ron.
Yeah, I transform, man. I feel like when I became vulnerable, I'm like, you can't tell me I'm not funny.
Yeah.
Also, my stories, I make the room smaller. Vulnerability makes the room smaller. When you're sharing,
it's intimate, right? It's intimate.
Yeah, when you share your vulnerability, and it makes everybody, you become a human. Like everybody becomes human versus a thing on stage telling a story, you know. And I've learned how to command that room, because when I first started doing it, I got hated on by a lot of comedians, and I didn't know they hated me. My agent came one time. She's like, "Why everybody talking bad about you?" But that room is a very coveted spot, and everybody want that spot. So when I got it, I used to hear about people talking about me. But then after a while, I was like, "Why am I trying to get a standing ovation every time when I can just work on my craft?" So now it's like, you can't duplicate my energy. I don't care who's there when I'm not there. That's why I said my essence is what changes the room. So for you change an environment when you show up. So that's my gift. It ain't just my funny, but my jokes, my energy, my experiences, my vulnerability, and the energy is what makes me special. And you can't duplicate that. So even when I dated, I was like, look, I know I'm dope. If you don't see me for who I am, I'm completely cool with you walking away. Now, before I'd be like, don't leave me. I need you. Where are you going? Now it's like, nah, I'm dope.
Yeah.
I'm dope. This is what I am.
Yeah.
You blocking your blessing.
Man, when you were hosting, and your agent telling you like, why is it? Were they saying it to your face? Were they saying it behind your back? Like,
no,
what?
They didn't know that she was my agent, so they were just speaking about how he get this, and he ain't that funny, and it's just stuff that don't make that face. Comedians, we all friends until a competition come to town, so don't make that face.
Here's the thing, Ron. Here's the thing. I think I don't know. Maybe I'm like wrong, or maybe I'm stupid. I don't know. But I think being a stand-up comic, and also like now a producer, because I produce so many shows and stuff. I want everybody to shine, man. I want all of you, like all my comics I book. I want you to shine. I want you to even outshine me. It doesn't like hurt my feelings, but I'm just like, oh my God, your set was so much better than mine. I'm just like, hey, your set was better than mine. What can I do next time to be a better comic? Right. And I think I don't know. I think maybe being a producer has kind of changed that mindset of just like, I want you to shine. How can I create a platform for you also to shine? Come and shine with me. I'm going to shine, but I want you to come and shine with me, And I don't know, maybe I'm stupid, but like, I
You're
know.
not stupid.
Huh? I feel like I have a lot of haters. And I they secretly, I've seen people who I've given like big platforms to, that, kind of go behind my back, or, say shit about me, or lie about stuff, where I'm just like, why'd you have to do that? Like, I've been nothing but kind to you. I've been nothing but nice to you. But I don't ever want to change that part of me. I always want to be this giving. I always want to be this kind of generous. And I always want God to put me in a position where I can give. I never have to be in a place where I am like asking for stuff. And you know what? I've always seen God bless me. God always blesses me. Things always come around. I have like such a strong faith in God, and of such a strong faith. I think of all the difficult times that I've gotten through in my life is because I had that faith. Like at the time when I had absolutely nothing to the point that I have today, it's because I have that faith. And, and that faith just grows. Like every time I do something, I'm just like, that's okay. Like that's what you chose to do. Maybe you're in pain. Maybe you're going through something that maybe you don't understand. So I forgive you. We just move on. I give you this platform because I know that God will take care of me. So I don't know, man. I just kind of, I just kind of keep it moving. I'm just like, oh, great. I can help you. Oh, that's awesome. Oh, did I do something that maybe propelled you in the next place? Fabulous. But I see it, man. I see the competition, I wasn't making the face at you. I was just, but I know exactly what you're talking about. That kind of, the kind of bullshit that people, and the games that people try to play of trying to sleep their way to the top. That's another thing with a lot of female comics.
Right. But also too, you don't operate out of lack. Like in comedy, you don't operate out of lack at all. And when you're like clear about who you are, can't nobody take your spot. You know what I'm saying? But also having light and being sure about who you are is disruptive to people who operate out of lack. So you showing up to somebody who's fragile and insecure would automatically be like, who she thinks she is? I'm like, I'm dope at what I do, and I know who I am. So why would I have to dim my light because I'm in your space, because you're uncomfortable being in my space, knowing that they came to see me anyway, but you're uncomfortable about that. And you knew that before you said yes to the show. So why do I need to dim my light or bow down to you because you're fragile and insecure?
Right, precisely. And I've done that. Listen, man, I've been very fortunate to put on some really fabulous shows where I'm packing a room of 300 people. Like, who the hell am I to just kind of come and do these kind of things? But I'm very grateful that God has given me this gift and has given me these opportunities to be able to do this, not just for myself, but for other people. And I want to continue to do that. I want to continue to be able to give thousands of comedians a platform where they will rise and shine and make the world a better place. Like, why not? Like, there's enough space for all of us. You know what I'm saying?
But you built like that. Everybody ain't built like that. They built, again, out of lack. So when you show up, never show up out of lack. When you see me perform on that stage, I know I'm dope. I know what value I bring to relationships, life stage. This is who I am. So for you, never dim your light for people like that. And again, they just let you know that they're not meant to be in your space, especially when you take off. They're gonna really hate you then. They really gonna hate you. Not that you ain't doing dope things now, but when you really take off, they're gonna hate you from the bottom of their soul. And ain't nothing you can do about it, because again, your dopeness is going to frustrate their fragility, and you can't even feed into that, because once you start explaining yourself and apologizing, it's never enough. It's them. It's not you.
It's interesting you said about the apologizing. It took me a long time to be like, why am I apologizing? Like, I didn't do nothing wrong. I've been nothing but good. You should actually apologize for your shitty behavior. I've been nothing but good. So I'm just going to keep being awesome, and you're going to watch me being awesome. And if that burns you and kills you, then you need therapy and, have a shot of tequila or something. I don't know. Help yourself. It's not my problem. But,
right.
But what would you say, like, coming from Atlanta? Are you born and raised in Atlanta?
No, I was born in South Carolina.
Well, South Carolina. Wow.
Yeah, I was born in South Carolina.
Wow, man. What was that like? I want to hear that.
From what to what? South Carolina to Atlanta, or Atlanta to LA? Or South Carolina to LA?
No, I'm just talking about your childhood in South Carolina.
South Carolina is just a simple place. Like, it's a simple life. And for me, I feel it was the best place I could have grown up, because the only thing that mattered was making enough to take care of your family. You don't need excess. As long as you make enough to take care of your family and you can barbecue on the weekends, nothing else mattered. And I grew up around down the street from the Capitol building, which had the Confederate flag up top, and they took it down when Dylann Roof killed the Charleston 9. They finally took it down, which I feel like they did it for political reasons, but I grew up around that. So everybody's just comfortable and content with just enough. And so moving to LA, it reminded you, like, enough ain't enough. Like, just having enough ain't enough. And that's in everything: spiritually, emotionally, financially, relationally, religiously. Like, that's why I said LA made me examine the why of everything that I was raised with. It made me question everything. And so I was forced to question everything I was raised with to be able to function out here, because I held on to home a lot when I first moved out here, and it made me depressed. When you hold on to home, you're like, oh, back home, I would have been married by now. Or back home, you meet somebody with some hazel eyes, it's a wrap. You're already married. I could have had kids by now. Or, having friends back home, it's not like that here. It's a different place. And so somebody said, we're in South Carolina. I was born in Columbia, South Carolina. But yeah, I had to learn how to adjust and adapt. And as a comedian, we're required to learn how to adapt, which is like you doing this platform. Like, you could just been a person that's on stage all the time, but you like, look, I have a big heart and I have enough. And all the stuff has came out of you saying yes to comedy. Now you got your own podcast, you're traveling all over, and you're going to be speaking to women too. That's why I was like, your pain was not in vain. And you had to go through all that to be where you are now. So nothing is an accident.
No, I appreciate that. Thank you very much. It's interesting. There's this is so crazy. Beginning of this year, before the pandemic hit, I got an email from the U.S. Department of State, and I was just like, oh shit, are they going to deport me? I'm a citizen. And they were like, no, they're like, we came across you and we're looking for a Muslim female comedian. We are looking to do a documentary funded by the U.S. Department of State. Yeah, funded by the U.S. Department of State. And we need you to come and speak. We're going to fly out from D.C. And are you available? And would you be willing to let us just kind of walk around and just kind of follow you to do this documentary on you? That's funded by the U.S. Department of State. And I was just like,
did it set up?
I know, that's what I thought initially. So I had my agent. I was just like, yo, can you investigate this? Like, is this legit? And she looked it up. She's like, no, this is 100% legit. Like, this is the U.S. Department of State. So when they got here, and I was like, when I talked to her, I was like, how did you guys find me? Like, this is really creepy. And they're like, we literally Googled like Muslim female comedian, and you were the one that stood out to us the most. Like you were
hilarious.
Yeah. How crazy is that shit? Like it's creepy. It was creepy. I'm not gonna lie. I think it's still a little creepy to me.
It's like LAPD wants to do a documentary about blacks and the police in the community. Do you want to do it? Like, how y'all get my number?
Exactly.
Black comedian, and your name came up, and we would love to meet us at this private location, and we would love to do it.
Exactly. Don't bring nobody. Just come alone. You can at home too. And I was like, oh shit, okay. No, man. They came and they like interviewed me, and I asked them what the documentary was for, and they were like, it's to we are going to play this in the former Soviet Union, in the Muslim countries where women are being oppressed and told that they can't do women's marches and stuff like that. We need a voice like yours to go there and to empower these women that they can stand up for themselves. I was like, oh my God. I was like, yo, I'm going to have some bounties out on my head. These guys are going to be, Putin's going to be putting out a bounty on my head. Like, what the fuck is going to happen? But no, I agree with you. I think the older I get, and like each passing year, I think I definitely realize one thing, your purpose. Like you realize your purpose, just like you realize your purpose.
Right.
What?
Did you do it?
Oh yeah, I did it.
Okay, all right. Was it cool?
It was really cool. It was really cool. It was really fucking very, very empowering and very cool, and almost just like sometimes, honestly, Ron, I think just like you, I always also get depressed about stuff where I'm just like, man, I've been putting all this work in. Like, where's my rewards at? Like, where's my results? And in the South Asian culture, and I don't know if you grew up in that kind of family. With us, it's just like, well, you put X amount of years towards something. Now we need to see results. You haven't got results. You're a loser, or you're not doing something right. You're stupid. You must be stupid. You're doing something right. My brother, so I have 4 older brothers, and I'm the youngest and the only girl. And my brothers have never seen any one of my shows. They refuse to watch any of my comedy shows.
Why not?
Huh?
Why not? You do.
They don't want to watch it. They don't want to watch their sister.
They're just traditional.
They're traditional, and they're also they feel like I talk about a lot of edgy stuff, and they're not comfortable with me talking about edgy stuff on stage.
Are they prudes? Is that what it is?
I think they're prudes. I think they might be insecure. I think some of the stuff that I talk about makes them insecure. But you know what it is, Ron? Honestly, for the longest time, it used to really hurt my feelings, and I'm just like, but that's not my problem.
That's so dysfunctional. Like, you're so dope, man, and you're such a great person. You know what you should do? Yeah. Tell them I got a show and you should come. And they be like, nah, we can't come because you talk about crazy stuff. Like, let me check your browser history.
Yeah, exactly.
Exactly. Let me type in PO and then Pornhub pop up. You're like, oh, okay. So you're offended, but Pornhub is the first thing that popped up when they type in PO, not police. Pornhub.
It ain't the popo. It's Pornhub.
Yeah.
It ain't the popo. But it's that it's a cultural thing about, women are not supposed to be this bold. Like, you're not supposed to go on stage and talk about the stuff that you're talking about. And I'm just like, look, I love you. Dude, I was Tony Woods. I was opening for Tony Woods in Texas. Right. I'm at the Addison Improv. And I told my brothers, I'm like, yo, you guys want to come roll with me? You guys want to? They're like, what are you doing? I was like, I'm opening for Tony Woods. And I was like, what are you guys going to do? They're like, nah, we're just going to go stay home and watch TV. It's just like, what do you say to that?
That's trash, man.
Yeah, it's just like, okay, I'm like, 300 people came out to see me, but my own family doesn't want to see me. So like,
but wait till you blow up. I'm telling you. Because when the streets start talking, when the streets start talking, oh my God, your sister's so amazing. Have you seen her? Huh? Nah. Don't wait till I'm famous and you try to come see me get free tickets. I'm charging my family. I'm charging everybody.
Oh, 100%. I'm just like...
When I was free, you couldn't come see me. Now that I'm a thing, because you don't want to look stupid because your friends ask you about me? Because you're so... Yeah. Charge.
Yeah. It's interesting. My brother calls me up one day and he was like, I don't want to tell you this. My friends are real big fans of yours. I'm like, what the fuck? I'm like, did you know that you've never seen any of my shows? And they're like, he's like, well, I don't want to tell him that. I'm like, yeah, of course, My brother calls me up one day. He's like, I can't wait for you to make it. I'm like, why? Why can't you wait? He's like, because, you're going to have the nice cars. You're going to have the nice house so I can come and chill in it. What the fuck? You don't support me now. So you just want to reap the rewards, but you don't give a fuck about all my struggles and everything.
I'm going to say it so you don't have to say it. If your family's watching this, y'all are trash. I'm saying it. You don't say it. All y'all trash. Everybody trash. You dumpster juice. You got sewage in your soul. Skunk sex. Two skunks, tongue kissing. That's what you smell like. That's what your soul is like. I'm saying it. You're unsupportive. You're simple-minded. You're narrow-minded, and you're about to block your own blessing. With somebody that dope in your family, and you don't want to believe in them, it's all good. And she don't want to be resentful, but I know she want to be. But it's all right. Oh, because when she blow up, y'all trash. I need you. Hold on. Y'all trash, fam. All y'all. Yeah, the people on TV don't care about you. You're going to watch them, but she care about you and trying to get you to come, and you don't care about her? Y'all trash. You got doodle in your soul. I'm sorry, you were saying?
Thank you, Ron. Oh, man. Ron, I think I should officially, we should just officially become brother and sister at this point. I should Yeah, we should. I should just add like
That's trash, man.
That's my family, man.
I know that feeling because when I first started doing comedy, my people didn't get it either until they saw me. And they were like, oh, my God, you're great. Now, they ain't take a while to come around as long as to come around as your people. But, man, the fact that they're saying my friends are fans of you, that is the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard.
Right? I'm like, you've never seen me. They're like, oh, yeah, I don't feel comfortable watching you. I don't feel comfortable.
Is that the voice you give them? Is that the dumb voice you give your family? Hey, I'm not coming. I'm going to go watch TV.
That's exactly what happens. The voice gets real deep. Oh, I don't feel like I don't want to talk about it. I don't really want to watch it. I'm just like, that's on you, man. That's on you.
Yeah.
Just, you know.
I want to share this with you too. I know you're gonna move on to another question. Yeah. I believe that God is going to give you everything you need and redeem everything you feel like you've lost. And sometimes when we go through this journey, the things that we long for, because I had to learn this too, the attention you want from certain people in your family, you'll realize that the attention that you wanted from them, they actually need from you. And you're a blessing by showing up to them because you want acceptance from these people because of the should. The should is, you're my brother, you're my father, you should love me, or you may never get that should, but the tables are going to turn. Your career is going to take off. You're already dope, and they're going to need that from you. They're going to need validation from you at a certain point because you're going to outgrow the box they put you in. You know what I'm saying? So you can't, they are who they are. Family don't change. People don't change. But for you, I see it. Every moment that you've complained about, that's why I was like, you got to prepare your heart for everything you say you want. If you want to, it's almost like how Black people, we have this stain and this scar from how we begin to treat it in the country, to the point where if white people do something nice for us, we feel like they're up to something. Like, that's just how the country's been. I'm from the South, so I've seen so much racial stuff. And if I see a white person that gets it, I'm more surprised than I am about somebody who don't get it. You know what I'm saying? But also in this transition that's happening with the country and the world, the love and acceptance we say we want, we have to prepare for it, even though there's resentment attached to white people up to something. Like, you don't like me. I'm okay. So I'm a clean Black comedian, but you only put me on the urban shows. You only put me on the Knuckle Up Mondays or the Take It to the Streets Tuesdays or the Barbecue Thursdays. Like, I only get the Black shows. Even though I'm a clean Black comedian, Emmy Award winner, last comic standing, I can't perform in the mainstream rooms. And so for me, I have to still keep my heart open and go with a good attitude to these places and know that I'm a blessing because I showed up. You know what I'm saying? So again, for you too, prepare your heart for the life and the man and the career you say you want. So unpack all that other stuff. You can't do nothing about your past. All you can do is work on you because people don't change. Your family members trying to get them to change the way they think.
Oh, no.
You're going to hurt yourself.
I'm so over it, Ron. I just don't even bother. I'm just like, you know what? Honestly, I send them nothing but love and blessings. And I hope they find peace in whatever they do. I don't have any ill feeling towards them, but I'm just like, I don't need to be a part of it. And if you don't want to be a part of my, it's like, what's a saying that Will Smith has? If, you haven't been around for my struggles, don't expect to be there doing my successes. And it's exactly that, so I mean, it is what it is, man. But what I want to ask you is, do you have a comedy special out, or have you ever put a comedy special out yet?
I did. I did a Comedy Central Next Level for Kevin Hart.
Oh yeah,
that was 2 years ago. I did that, but my hour is gonna be fire. I can't wait to do my hour. I need to get back on stage and tour for a bit before I actually do it. But I'm looking forward to do that. But again, I just like when you do things decent, it takes a little longer. So my career has been different. Yeah.
I mean, we all have our unique paths and our own journeys, right? I mean, what this next hour that you're working on, do you already have, like, are you just going to shoot it and fund it yourself and put it out there? Or do you have like a network that you're going to be speaking to and trying to go and sell it to?
The goal is Netflix, but again, I don't want to shoot a special until the special. I don't want to shoot anything until my number's been called and my time is here. Because I have friends that shot specials and nobody wanted it. Nobody's like, okay, you want me to spend how much for this special and nobody know who you are? Like, that's sometimes how it works, man. But I believe that, again, when my time comes and the way I speak and how my voice is, I feel like my voice will be perfect timing for the people that need to hear it.
Yeah. Like,
that's all about relationships too. You can tell that's my passion. I talk a lot about relationships, and that's like my zone. Yeah. And when it's time, I feel like there'll be a divine appointment when my special drops, and people be like, "Yo, where does dude come from?" And I was like, "I've been here the whole time," but sometimes people catch up after you're already famous.
Yeah, absolutely. What's your dream like in the comedy world? Like, what's you're just like, you know what, if I have this, that, and that, I'm just like, you know what, I did everything I wanted to as a stand-up comic, as an artist.
A few things. One, I want to be the dopest clean comedian in my generation. I don't have to announce it, but again, like, just me being a black clean comedian, I can't think of anybody but Sinbad that had that title. But I want to be the dopest clean comedian in my generation. I also want to do a bunch of really dope, I call it white folk friendly movies like Will Smith. I want to fill that space that he had, where you got like superhero movies, romantic comedies, all that stuff. I'm with all that. I want to be crying on screen, walking out the room, my shirt off, and women be like, "Woo!" Or they take a sip, be like, I wanted to sit when I walked through that with my shirt off. And I want all that. So to be a dope movie star as well. I also want to have a huge platform with me and my wife, where we talk about relationships, where we sit and talk to theaters. I'm speaking to theaters of people about relationships and crossing religious lines and trying to figure out what works for you. You know, I want to, and like, legit be that couple. I don't want to be like the fake couple. Everybody like, I want to be like them, but you don't know nothing about their life. Like, I felt like, again, God allowed me to be married before I took off, because my wife was the missing piece to my success. But again, I want to have a platform with that. I also want to have a platform with my my podcast, the 2-Piece Podcast and Personal Growth for Men, which is another lane. I also want to tell kids, man, I want to have this nonprofit for kids for public speaking and doing what you love for a living, and not going to college because somebody told you this makes a lot of money, but really going to college for something you love, and how all the things that we learn in the hood are applicable to the marketplace. You know, the things that you learn, how to talk to a girl, she tell you no, and you want to still find the girl you really want to be with because you can handle the no, and all those stuff translates into the marketplace as well. But I have so much stuff I want to do. I want to have a clothing line. I want to do real estate. I want to have a comedy club. I want to have a barbershop. Just cut my hair.
Ron, where would you open the comedy club?
Where? I haven't figured that out yet, but it'll probably be more of a coffee shop-ish, because I don't want the stress of like needing to sell out. I just want to have a cool, dope place where comedians can come work on their craft and have a cool crowd, and they not, run everybody off trying to be vulgar. Yeah. So it doesn't have to be a full proper comedy club, but I want to have a dope space where, again, if I want to work on some material and I got a special coming out, I can go there and perform, and I ain't got to book it. You know what I'm saying? Like, just a really cool place to do stand up and share your art.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I have one of our viewers. His name is Mark Lee. He's also from South Carolina, if I'm not mistaken. Please correct me if I'm wrong. He's from Durham. He's in Durham. Is that north or south?
Durham is North Carolina. He said he asked me that I know somebody. Ronnie Warner. Is Ronnie Warner a Sigma? I think Ronnie a Sigma. Mark is Ronnie is a Sigma. And if he is, then that's my bro.
Oh, and Mark said this. Mark said, and Ron, sometimes we are our worst enemies. I know some black clubs and et cetera that are too busy cutting our own down. Have you experienced that?
Yeah, that's what clubs do. They only choose the people that's popular, and popularity contests. It's not sustainable, because there's a young generation of comics even now, man, watching my generation of comedians get passed over, and they get like some older comedian who was hot in the 90s. No shade to them, but there's a new voice and a new tone to this culture, man, that you got to pick the right people to get it, So I know sometimes comedy clubs do the popularity contest, but that don't mean nothing, because, again, while you're only focusing on the people that's quote unquote hot now, you should groom the people that's up and coming. So when their time comes,
Yeah.
there'll be space for them versus like waiting until they're unaffordable. Then you want to have them come to your club, which I think is the dumbest idea ever. You should incubate these comedians now, groom them to be headliners so that when that time comes, you already have a relationship versus you got to go through my manager.
That's right. I mean, that was happening at the Comedy Store in the, in your 80s and I guess even in the 90s. That was happening. And I think a lot of that culture has shifted. I mean, have you experienced that, or would you agree with that?
With what?
The fact that this kind of incubation and this kind of, grooming the comedians and giving them a platform to grow, that was happening at the Comedy Store. I don't know. I guess that was happening at the Laugh Factory too, but I definitely...
It was happening with white comedians, not with black comedians. We don't really get love like that unless you're like an exceptional black comic there with a TV show or you have a movie with somebody super huge. But just in general, incubating and grooming young black comics, I feel like it's not a thing in Hollywood.
Yep. And I would second that with, I don't think that's a thing for brown comics, and especially brown female comics. That's like not a thing.
No, they solved that by giving us a minority night. Minority night. They don't give us the mainstream nights where talent, industry, and all the bigger names come. It'll be a whole lineup of popular white boys, and
that's right.
Maybe we'll host.
That's right. It's interesting how I started Minority Reportz at the Comedy Store. Is I remember auditioning for the booker, who's the manager there now. Yeah, I remember auditioning for him, and he said to me, and I was just like, "Hey, man, I did really fucking well." And I was like, "Hey, man, so am I passed?" And he was like, "Yeah, I'll get back to you," and just like never did, right? So I approached him and I was like, "Look, it's clear that I'm never gonna be able to pass this place, so I'll just produce my own show." So I was like, "You guys just give me the space. If you can give me a date and time, and I'll produce it, and and I'll give people like myself a platform." And I'm so grateful, and just for whatever my mentality and thinking was back then, to be able to create what I did, because I would never be able to. I mean, I would never be able to perform at the Comedy Store on a monthly basis if I didn't have my own show, Right. And I'm glad for the fact that I've been able to take the show out and not just for myself, like all the people that have, I've like showcased over 500 comedians in the past 5 years on my show. Like when would I ever be able to kind of give myself that platform or anybody else? So I'm very grateful for that. And I'm grateful for them.
I hate you have to do that though. You have to have your own show in order to be seen at a club that they don't want you at.
That's right.
And you're bringing money to them, even though they told you no. I hate that whole... Yes. So I was like, man, I'm just at a place in my career I can't do that no more.
Yes. What was that process for you? Like, did you audition at the Laugh Factory, or did you just get watched by someone else and the producer brought you in to host Chocolate Sundays? What was that process for you?
Man, I was already hosting there for 4 years, and I was never regular. I was already hosting literally for 4 years on Sunday, and then during the week, I never got a shot. And so
that's crazy.
My buddy Aiko, and I think maybe Susan that worked there,
they
told Jamie about me, and I also did kids comedy camp, and I performed for the troops, and I think he finally saw me. And one day I was magically passed. They were like, "Hey, we'll give you more spots," and I'm like, "Yo, like me?" I said, "You playing?" They was like, "Nah." And so it was weird because the waitress would be like, "What you doing here on a Tuesday?" I was like, "Performing. That's why I'm here."
Right?
They so used to me doing Chocolate Sundays and Black Night. I was like, "Man, this sucks, man." But it just sucks. Again, like I'm a clean black comedian, and I still get treated like you're an urban comic. Like, no, I'm a dope comedian. Why I got to be the black comic?
That's right. Like I'm talking about, like, I don't you think it goes back to the kind of perception that we have in American society about whether you're a brown comic or a black comic, like you can't, like, somehow that our stories are somehow not human or not mainstream, which is wild to me. It's like, why are just white comic stories or their lives, so humanized and their stories are mainstream while yours and mine isn't? It's also human because we're human.
Man, I love comedy so much. Comedy literally changed my life. Like, you and I are having this conversation because we said yes to comedy.
Yes.
And just the fact that somebody would discount that or feel like we're not worthy enough to be in a certain space because they only used to a certain type of comic, I just feel like it's just such a trash thing.
Yeah. I 100% agree with you. I mean, what do you think of the PC culture?
The what?
The PC culture.
It's dead. I think it's dead now. You know, I know it's very popular in politics and government and like corporate settings, but the disruption that's happening right now in the culture, I feel like it's necessary to like give people room to say how they really feel. You know, especially when it comes to like social injustice or Karens or, you know, not feeling seen. And then even especially with the Me Too movement, I just feel like now is the time where people have more space to say how they feel and not feel like they're going to lose their job because they're speaking up for themselves, you know? So I'm glad the disruption, your regularly scheduled programming is being disrupted, and I feel like it's necessary. And I'm glad it's my generation, because my dad, even hearing my dad say, man, I ain't never seen white people get shot by rubber bullets for us, or like, you know, speak up on our behalf. And it's been there. Black folks, we've been screaming like, yo, like we matter, and you know, stuff is not fair for years. And now that this year magically people hear us, I'm like, yo, it was okay before. So now that it's a thing, I will not dim my light or not speak my voice pretty much in any setting unless it's like doesn't make sense. Like long term doesn't make sense to say something and be disruptive. You know, like or somebody I admire speaking up and I'm like just yelling out, hey, Black Lives Matter. Like I won't do that. But if it makes sense and I have a voice and opportunity to do it, like I'm going to speak up. Even being on set, being a person of color on set, it's a very unique feeling where you're the only person of color. Yeah. And the hair and makeup is, they don't know your hair. They don't know how to do my hair. You know what I'm saying? I've sat in a chair on a mainstream show and a lady put mousse on my hair. You don't put mousse on black hair. She took a brush and like I had a mohawk and she brushed my mohawk forward. And I was like, what are you doing? And she was like, you trying to tell me I don't know how to do black hair? I said, I'm not trying to tell you nothing, but you don't put that on my hair. And so I went to my trailer, and that's why I cut my hair. But I went to my trailer and just like cut my own hair. I had to tape myself up because I thought they would do it on set, but they don't even hire black people. Like it's not even a thing. So I'm very outspoken now, especially if I'm on set. Like, look, if you're going to hire me, this is what I'm going to need. Yeah. And this ain't being a diva. This is me in order to feel comfortable on set, which is why you hired me to do a job, because I'm funny and I'm hilarious.
Yes.
I need this to feel comfortable.
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely.
Before I'll shut up and just take the check.
What was that like on Last Comic Standing? Did they have, did they do your hair makeup? What was that like for you?
They had hair and makeup, but again, I would always try to come prepared as much as I could. It was okay until we did the reality stuff because we had to stay with each other, and that was the kind of tricky part where, again, I don't tap dance or like start doing crazy stuff because the cameras is on. So this one particular thing, I don't think I've ever said this on any platform before, but there's a group that I was going up against. It was a 2-man group on Last Comic Standing, a comedy duo, and their thing was kind of like the movie Dumb and Dumber. Yeah, they act really like cheesy. Hey, but the angle was they were Christian guys. We're good Christian guys, and like just kind of real Ned Flanders-ish, you know. And we were in Vegas, and they were like, "You guys going to gamble?" And they was like, "No, but we hit the jackpot with Jesus." And I was like, "What?" And so when the camera turned off, Jesus, they were just 2 white guys who didn't even believe in God, and they're like, "We do this to make money." And I was like, "Oh my God!" And so you know they do the confessionals on the show about how you feel about stuff, and I'd be like, "Yo, those 2 guys, they don't even believe in God, but they like clowning my God." And it was like, "You can't say that because the people at home don't know." And I was like, "What do you mean? Like, I'm the only Christian in this house and you're telling me I can't say nothing?" So I had to shut up. And so then we did this round where it was a boxing match. And so we would have boxing gloves on and a boxing shorts and a thing. And we would go in the room and do yo mama jokes inside the boxing ring on Last Comic Standing. And so I was getting ready and I'm backstage and the camera came on. I'm like, I'm acting like I'm Muhammad Ali. I'm like, I'm the greatest. Y'all don't want none of me. Come on, chump, whatever. And I'm like just being cheesy, whatever. They cut that video to make it look like I was arrogant and aired it to where the people saw me talking about the 2 guys who were faking Christianity, and everybody commented on the comment section was like, "Yo, I hate to say that you're even a Christian. Like, you're the worst comedian I've ever met. You're faking, you're phony, you're not even a Christian." And these 2 guys didn't even believe in God. And they edited, again, me talking like Muhammad Ali to make it like I'm talking about them in the ring on your mama jokes. And I couldn't control it. And it just hurt me because I'm like, they were prostituting my religion. And I was standing up for myself, and I wound up getting taken down. But, you know, that's where I'm not a big fan of reality shows because you're not in control of the editing booth and how they view you. Right, because they control the narrative. Yeah, they're going for the views. They don't care about your feelings. Yep. Wow, man. I'm sorry. That fucking sucks. Did Last Comic Standing help you with your career? Absolutely. I feel like after I did Last Comic Standing, I I could talk less because when you're up and coming, you have to explain yourself and say who you've been on tour with and do all this talking. But once I did Last Comic, I didn't have to say who I was anymore. I didn't have to say, hey, I'm Ron G from Last Comic Standing. People are like, hey, you was the black dude. You was the black dude from the show. Come on in here, man.
Well,
yeah, we'll give you 5 minutes.
You it towards the end because you were a finalist, right?
What happened?
You were a finalist?
Yeah, I was.
So who ended up winning that one?
That's the year Eliza won.
Oh, Eliza won that one.
Yeah, Eliza won. Yeah, she's done some really, really great things.
Yeah, she has. Yeah, she's been doing she's made a lot of money, tell you that much. Yeah, she's doing just fine for herself. She's
cool.
No, that's amazing. So after you win Last Comic Standing, you're going on tours, you're getting booked for TV gigs. Like you did Punk'd. Was that before Last Comic or after?
That was after. I did a college tour, and I think I did 100 schools. I got College Comic of the Year.
Wow.
I did 100 schools. Unheard of. My life fell apart. It was amazing, but my life fell apart.
Oh my goodness. Well, personal life. You have no personal life. You're just touring all the time.
Now, I was home 3 days a week. Like the day back home was jet lag. Second day, you're packing. Third day, you're leaving out that morning. So that was my schedule for like almost a whole year.
Yeah, I bet. What was that like for you? Did you enjoy doing colleges?
The first couple of months, I thought it was amazing, but then I got burned out because I was by myself. Like I'd never been on tour with like my friends before. You know what I'm saying? Where you like with cool people that you know and you love and you know, y'all can kick it. I didn't have that happen to like the last couple of years of my life, but that was painful because I was traveling all over. I didn't know what day it was, what city I was in. And that's when I had the guy you sing now. That was the beginning of my transition because I remember being on the road and I left the school and I just stood in the parking lot for like 5 minutes because I can't remember what day it was. I forgot what color my rental car was. I was like, I didn't even know what city I was in. And I remember getting back to the hotel and I got in the shower and I had a full meltdown. And I'm like, I'm a grown man and I've never been in love because when you're traveling like that, when I would date somebody, when I got back home, the person be moved on and they wouldn't tell me. And I'm like, this is freaking weird. My friends would stop calling me and I had a full meltdown in the shower. And I was like, God, I want to find love. And I didn't ask him for a wife. I just told him I wanted to find love. And I found love. Didn't find a wife, but I found love and I got what I needed. And that was the beginning of my growth process. Like, in order to become who I need to become and have who I need to have, I need to work on these things. And that was the beginning of it because I spent a lot of time by myself.
Yeah. I mean, there's something to be said about people who are either put in positions or put themselves in a place where they are by themselves. I honestly used to absolutely fear being alone for the longest time. That was one of my biggest fears. And that's why I stayed in a very destructive relationship for almost 9.5 years because I was absolutely terrified of being alone. I had never been alone before. But the single greatest gift that I could have possibly given myself was to be alone because I learned things about myself that I would have never had the opportunity to learn in a relationship, especially in a destructive relationship. So, I look at people, I look at somebody like my mom and she's absolutely terrified of being alone because she's never been alone. She's went from her parents' home to her husband's home and then she was with the kids. So she doesn't know who she is. And I think for me, the number one thing about myself, if I wanted to do anything before I left the planet, is to learn about myself and, learn about my spirituality and know who I am and what I'm about. So I think for me, it seems like comedy has done that for you. Comedy has literally like saved my life. There's no ifs or buts about this. This is my purpose.
Comedy changed my life. I'm glad I did it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't be having this conversation with you. I wouldn't be who I am. If I was back home, I would be a school teacher with about 7 kids, 2 wives, and one divorce.
2 wives? What are you, Muslim, Ron?
No. I would have been like on my second marriage with about 7 kids and miserable because I'm like, yo, this sucks. It's not enough. I need to find out who I am.
Yeah. No, listen, for me, it's just like when I was 18, I am the first woman in my family ever from my mom or dad's side to pick up my bags and leave before marriage. Like that is not something that you do in the Indian or Pakistani culture. You just don't. You bring shame.
Did they have an arranged marriage?
I didn't have an arranged marriage.
I mean, did your parents have an arranged marriage?
Yes, they did. Yeah.
Oh, have you ever heard of the city of Leicester in the UK?
I've heard of City of Leicester. Yeah.
There's a huge Indian population there, and I did a tour in the UK, and that was one of my cities. And me and Nate Jackson went there. And Nate Jackson went up before I did. Like he destroyed, had a great job. I was the headliner and I got on stage and I was doing all this relationship stuff and it got quiet. And one lady was like, You don't know who I am. I said, what are you talking about? She got up and got mad at me because I did a joke about breakups. And I was like, it's my I don't know if you heard my neck tears jokes. I was like, man, you ever have a breakup so bad? You ever cry so hard? You have tears under your neck? Like, you ever trying to do the wall slide? You ever see the wall slide? No. And I slide down the wall while I'm doing it. And nobody said nothing. When I do that joke, whenever I get like, people be crying because they know what it's like to have heartbreak. Yeah. But because these people have arranged marriages, it's business. It's not love. And I didn't know that until halfway through my set. And the lady got up and she was like, that's not true. And why would you do all that? And I was like, well, it's not my fault. You got in a marriage with somebody that you didn't love. Like,
oh my goodness.
Yeah, I was like, you mad at me because I chose somebody? I like, this is what I went through. I was like, you married somebody you didn't love and you mad at me about it? And she cursed me out and walked out the door. And it wasn't till halfway through my set. I'm like, oh, y'all do arranged marriages. Y'all don't do feelings.
Yeah.
It's business. And I was halfway through my set. I'm like, why didn't that happen in my set?
Yep, it's a transaction. It's all about, I mean, now a lot of it is changing because there's a lot more love marriages, but there's a lot more divorces too. But man, the old school, it's all arranged marriage. My parents' relationship was an absolute transaction. There's no denying about that. My mom came from a poor family, but she was beautiful. My dad came from a well-off family. And you marry a beautiful girl into a rich family. Like that's how you, and then you end up creating a daughter who ends up singing, dirty jokes on stage. That's what happens. But no, man, I'm very happy with my choices. I mean, did you ever in the beginning of your career and going through the tumultuous times ever kind of question being like, man, did I make the right choice? Like, should I be doing this?
I never doubted that this was my calling because I clearly remember God telling me like, this is what my calling was. Like, I remember when he was like, you're going to change a whole generation of people and you're supposed to do this. Now, I'm glad he didn't give me the details and tell me.
Dream about this, or did you, what was that calling for you?
I remember watching Jerry Maguire. And I remember him quitting and he grabbed the fish out of the tank.
Uh-huh.
And I feel like God literally spoke to me. I don't say this often, but I feel like he said, Ron, you're going to change this generation. What you're going to do. Your name stands for relying on God. And he said, what are you going to do about it? And I was like, move to LA. I've never been to LA before. I don't know. I just felt like I was supposed to move to LA. And he said, okay. Then he got quiet. The next day, my dad hit me and he sent me a check, some money, like $300. And I bought a flight to LA to come visit. I performed at Chocolate Sundays. It was a year waiting period. One of my bros from church grew up in LA and knew Pookie, the booker from Chocolate Sundays. And I wound up performing at Chocolate Sundays, performed at the Comedy Union. And I literally fell in love. I'm like, I'm supposed to be here. And I remember going back to Atlanta. And I was in the crossroad too. I was going to quit doing comedy because where I'm from, your priority is to take care of your family. And I was engaged to this girl. And comedy was a hustle, but it wasn't a career because this is pre-Tyler Perry. And I didn't know that you can actually make a living from stand-up being from the South and where I was, because comedy was starting and bubbling in LA, Atlanta, but it wasn't a big deal, you know? And I remember I got to a crossroad. And so, Byron, do you know Byron Bowers?
Yeah, I love Byron Bowers.
Yeah, so Byron, my bro, man, and I was going to quit. And I was like, hey, man, you think I should quit comedy? He was like, bro, I can't tell you should quit. Because I thought, again, I was getting married soon. I should take care of my person. Like, I should find a 9-to-5 because comedy's not, I had me money. I didn't have we money. I was like, I need to take care of my person and be a responsible man and be a good husband. And he was like, bro, you don't want to put your dream down, man. You're going to resent her if you do it. And I said, okay. I said, what I'll do is it was a comedy competition with this local network. And I said, if I do well in this competition, I'll keep doing comedy and I won't quit comedy. And I told my girl about it, my fiance, and she was like, why are you going to do it? And I was like, well, I'm going to do the competition. Like, we'll see what happens. I want to win in the competition. The prize was a trip to Vegas for 2. And you see a comedy show. So I won the competition. And my girl was like, can I go with you? I'm like, you don't even believe my dream. You was going to let me quit comedy? And you want to go to Vegas with me? So I actually took Byron. Me and Byron went to Vegas, and we performed at a comedy club in Vegas. So 1 year in the game and you performing in Vegas to me was like everything. Like, I thought like, yo, I made it. And I came back home and I was like, I ain't supposed to be here. And I asked my girl, I said, babe, how would you feel if I left Atlanta and moved to LA to pursue my dreams. And she's like, Ron, I think that's a dumb idea. Why would you leave your church home? You leave me and you leave your home to go pursue a dream that you don't know nothing about. And I said, you don't believe in me. 2 weeks later, I got a job over the phone. They held it for 3 months. Wow. I sold my home in Atlanta. And I told my girl, I said, look, I don't think I can do this. And she's like, what do you mean? And I was like, well, you don't believe in me now. Why would I take you with me to LA where I have a new job in a new city I never visited before, and a new marriage? That's too much. And I didn't know anybody. And I went to go visit one time, and I wound up meeting a guy, one of my homies who was my frat brother from another school out there. He's like, bro, what you doing out here? And I was like, well, I came out here to find a job. Oh, well, find a place to stay. He's like, really? Where are you trying to stay at? I said, well, I just got a job in Culver City. They've been holding my job for like 3 months. He was like, that's crazy. I just bought a condo in Culver City. You can stay with me. I won't even charge you half.
Wow.
The condo was a mile walking distance from my job.
Wow.
And I didn't know nobody in LA.
Wow. Talk about things meant for you. When it's meant for you.
That's a long story, but yeah, that's what happened, man.
That is, when it's meant for you, it's meant for you. That's a great freaking story, man. That is a fabulous story. Do you think you were talking about earlier about growing up with a father with a substance abuse problem? Mm-hmm. Do you feel that shaped a lot of your desire and your vision of becoming who you are today? And I always ask all my guests this, like, how much does pain drive you, and do you think it still drives you? Like what kind of role does pain play in your life?
I think pain and lack is like the center of everybody's life, man. Most people preach, and all the advice they give you comes from pain and lack. Most of the goals people achieve is mainly because somebody told them they couldn't do something, or somebody didn't believe in them. And, for myself, I believe my comedy, especially that's why I mentioned about being vulnerable, and it changed my career. Yeah. I had so much pain from heartbreak and childhood stuff that it just forced me to like use my voice and not silence myself. So I'm like, if I'm silent in my personal life and silent on stage and I'm not talking about nothing, what is the point? But when I got to a place like I'm going to use my voice and stand at my full height in my relationships, on stage, and just become a grown man. And that was the beginning of everything changing. So most people, again, live their life out of lack. You chase dreams because somebody told you couldn't do something, or you stop trusting yourself or pursuing your dreams because somebody said you can't do this, and you listen to them. You didn't chase the dream, and you had a job you hate now because somebody told you you're not dope, or you love somebody who doesn't love you back, and you're settling for scraps and being somebody Tuesday instead of trusting God and your full potential because somebody told you wasn't something. So we all kind of build our life out of lack, man, but that ain't the wave no more. When you wake up and become who you are, that's when you stand at your full height and actually operate out of wholeness. And you operate out of a place of wholeness. Yeah. Yeah.
You talk, are you an only child, Ron, or do you have siblings?
No, I have a sister. I'm the baby. My sister's older than me.
Oh, okay. And, how do you think the substance abuse affected her versus how it affected you?
Well, I had a lot going on in my family. It's just me and my sister, but my sister was handicapped. So when she was 8, she had like a seizure, and she never fully recovered. So it kind of stunted her growth. And so she processes like an 8-year-old, but she's like 40 something, So
does she live with mom? She
still live with my parents. So for me, even though I was the baby, I had to process on a higher level because I was like little bro, but I was also big bro too. So I had to help out my mom with my sister and stuff like that. So all that made me mama's little man. And I feel like that was the beginning of me becoming a fixer because, Pop's doing what he do. My sister's handicapped and my mom was frustrated. She trying to figure her life out. So I'm like trying to make sure mom's good and opening doors and doing all I can to make sure mom is good. And so if I don't fix it, nobody else will, kind of thing. Because I'm watching this as a kid, like I got to fix everything and make sure everybody happy. And I don't want to see my mom sad. And I got to make sure my dad is not sad and make sure my sister. And so I became a fixer as an adult because of my childhood, and I didn't know where it came from. I'm like, why I try to make everybody's life better? Like, why is this? But I remember as a little kid, you watching all this stuff happen and you like don't want people to cry and everybody to be happy and you're trying to make everybody's life better.
It's too much pain around you. So you're like, how do I minimize this pain? How can I be an instrument to minimize this pain? I think for me, the biggest thing was, so I have 4 older brothers, and my second and my third brother in the 70s were given.
4?
I have 4 older brothers, yeah.
And you were the baby girl?
Yes.
Wow, yeah, you like tough.
Oh yeah, I mean, my mom always said,
that's tough.
My mom always says, she's like, I prayed for a daughter, but God sent me another son. And she always says that. She always says that. And the thing was that my second and my third brother were given expired vaccination for polio, and they ended up getting polio because of it. So my mom, like, our family has been basically tethered since the beginning. I've never seen a whole family. Our family has been in chaos since like my birth. My mom left me when I was 6 months old, so I didn't really even grow up with my mom because my mom was never around. And then you throw in an abusive dad on top of it. My dad was really good in the beginning, but then I think as things got crazier, as we got older, I think my father also used to secretly drink. Now, you know that in the Muslim faith, you don't drink. In Pakistan, there's no bar you can just go and get drunk at. Like, so I think he was just finding alcohol from his brother, my youngest uncle.
That's his browser history.
Yeah, and he was
That's
there.
His browser history.
That's his browser history. You're right.
Mm-hmm. That's what Dubai is for. You go to Dubai to get your sins, and you go back to your country so people don't know you've been dealing with yourself.
Exactly. Yeah, my dad would come home shit-faced. And back then, it took me years of therapy as an adult to figure out that my dad was coming home shit-faced. Because I'd never seen drunk people, right? You don't drink, so you don't know what drunk looks like. You don't know what drunk looks like. Yeah. You're not around it. You don't know what alcohol. You don't know anything about that. And I remember my dad would come home, like, you just didn't know which person was going to walk in. One day my dad would walk in and he'd be like, I love you guys. And be like, yay, Dad's home. And the next day he'd walk in and start breaking every piece of furniture in the house. And you are getting the shit kicked out of you on top. So you're just like in this constant chaos. So I ended up becoming like you. I ended up becoming a fixer. Even though I was the youngest, I was just like, how do I make mom stop crying? How do I fix things? And I think for me, that is taking me a long time to kind of come out of it, because I was a fixer for so many things and for so many people for so long. It's taking me a long time to kind of being like, okay, I don't need to fix that. If it's broken, it's not my responsibility.
Yeah.
How did you come out of the run? How did you come out?
So the phrase I learned was, you got to let God do his thing. Because when you're a fixer, especially with people in your family and people you care about, like my heart is to always fix people, and I will always be like that, and I can't stop being like that. But you can't fix nobody you're doing life with.
Can't fix somebody that who what?
You're doing life with. If you're doing life with somebody, you can't fix them because it's too close, and you become God in their life. And it's almost like when you get too invested and you tell them no, they'll snap on you. Because you're picking up the slack where you're literally becoming God in their life. So sometimes you got to let it fall apart and see how they function in that. You got to let the whole thing fall apart and break, because our mentality is, well, if I don't do this, then it'll fall apart. If I don't do this, then they'll whatever. Sometimes you just got to let it fall apart and watch it fall apart. And then when they want to talk after it's falling apart, then you can actually help them. But while you're doing that, you're only medicating their blind spots and the things they're too fearful to work on, And I had to figure that out.
Like, you mean like you're enabling them? You're enabling their...
Absolutely. Like when somebody drinks, and something goes bad, like you have to speak how you feel. You have to say how you feel. And if you don't, and you be quiet, you're letting them think that they're right. Yeah. If they're drunk, they're not in their right state of mind, or if they're on drugs, they're not in their right state of mind. But sometimes you got to tell them about themselves. You have to tell people what they're doing is not cool and not be afraid to say it, because the problem is, when you introduce truth to dysfunction normally turns on you. Like in your family, like there's somebody in your family who's jacked up, but you're not supposed to say it. And if you ever, if you move to LA and then come back home and call that person out for being dysfunctional, the whole family be like, why would you say that and disrupt our peace? We was fine until you said that, and you had to say it. You couldn't not say that and just let them be who they are. I'm like, yeah, but they're dysfunctional. Everybody talk about you behind your back, but you're not happy. And you're mad at me for saying what you want to say?
Yes. I actually, so I did this thing on Comedy Central stage last year that I was telling you about my dad and, making peace with my dad and this whole kind of very climactic scene that I had with my father. And I posted it on YouTube. And my mom came across of it and she messaged me and she was just like, I saw what you posted. And she's like, can you please take that video down? She goes to me. She goes, I don't think we should put out our family business out like that. She tells me. And I was like, Mom, I'm an adult. Thus far, I left home at 18. I've been paying my bills since I was 18. I've never asked you for anything. Not emotional support, not financial support, not spiritual support, like nothing. I've been on my own since I was 18. So with all due respect, no, fuck no, I'm not taking it down. That is my truth. I'm going to put it out there. And I cannot tell you how many people have contacted me since that video and told me and unveiled things about their lives that I didn't even know. Like, they're just like, you empower me to be able to talk about my life or to embrace the side of my life. So I'm like, why would I take that gift away just because you're insecure about your issues? You know what I'm saying?
And I said this up top. I was like, your pain is not in vain at all. I said, your pain is going to be your platform, and your pain is going to be what your book is going to be centered around. Your pain is going to be what your TV show is going to be centered around. And you're supposed to go through it in order to get to where you got to go. So I say it's a blessing. Like, God literally put your two parents together to make you. Yeah. And he knew that you needed to be in that kind of environment. One, to be a blessing to them, even though they didn't see it. And even they don't see it now. Like, you're supposed to be in that family to bless them, even though you're waiting to be seen and accepted by them. Like, you're supposed to be there in order to help them and heal them. You know what I'm saying? You're not responsible for healing them, but they know they had to have you, because 4 boys and you're being the little girl, they see a different side of the home life that they would have never seen. And you were necessary, even though you feel like you're collateral damage, like you were, again, supposed to be there and helping the healing process. So they needed you.
Yeah, part of the healing process. But, it's just like you can't heal nobody until you've healed yourself. And I think the healing process is an ongoing healing process. I mean, is that for you? Do you feel like you had, done a lot of personal work on yourself and done a lot of healing in order to have the person in your life as your wife the way you do?
The question was, do I feel like I had to have it together?
Had you done enough work on yourself and done the healing process on yourself in order to attract that person and to make space for that person in your life?
Yes and no. When I met my wife, I was still jacked up and healing. I was still healing. I thought I was good. It's just, you tell yourself I'm always good. In LA, you got to be good. Everybody, I call it church parking lot. Church parking lot, everybody blessed. They go home and cry themselves to sleep. But in the parking lot, they are blessed. That's LA, and you have to act like you have it together and put your face on. And we're comedians. Like, nobody want to see a sad comedian. Who want to see a sad comedian? That's the most painful thing on the planet. Like, what you a comedian? Why are you not happy? What's wrong with you? Are you sick? What's wrong? And we're not allowed to feel, but I was jacked up when I met my wife. But healing is a daily process. Some days you have triggers. And your trigger could be talking to a loved one. Your trigger could be a smell or a sound or some food that you don't like from your childhood. Like, anything could be a trigger. So there's no proper healing is a moving target, and you can never possibly heal. That's why I was like, you got to have love and grace and patience, even with yourself, in order to heal. You got to be patient with yourself, because you took a lifetime to become who you are. Everything that you're dealing with right now, it took your entire life for you to become who you are. So you got to be just as patient on the other side to be like, I shouldn't be so hard on myself. I got friends who are so hard on themselves because their parents were hard on them. Now they just, every mistake, they like beating themselves. I'm like, bro, like, that ain't no way to live. And if God ain't that hard on you, why are you that hard on yourself? Like, are you God in your own life? Like, if God forgives you and gives you another day to make it right, why are you so hard on yourself? So we got to be just as patient with ourselves as we are with, just with our pain.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I 100% agree with you. So do you guys, so you said your wife is Muslim and does the fast during Ramadan. Do you like sometimes join her fasting also, or?
Yeah. Actually, this is the first time I ever did it properly. Like, normally I just do my own little fast. I'll do a Daniel fast where you can't eat. I call it the Reverend Right diet. You can't eat nothing white, no sugar, no rice.
Yeah.
No dairy, like just no white.
There's no water drinking. There's nothing that goes.
Oh, no, I know. That's why I said this first time I did it proper. I did it proper this time, where like I toughed it out, but also it's quarantine too, so it's a little bit easier. But me trying to do something like this with no food in my stomach and no water, I'll be just eating right now. I'll be so grumpy. I would not be funny and entertaining. I'd just be a waste of space right now.
Yeah. Do you think it's like, so you did it for what, 30 days?
I did the whole Ramadan.
Huh?
I did the whole Ramadan.
You did the whole Ramadan. Did she? So during the Ramadan, I'm sure like she's doing the prayers. Do you ever kind of inquire about the prayers with her and what they mean?
Well, I try to go to the mosque, but again, because we're not married and, you can't sit with your person in the mosque and learn, I have to wait on a guy to take me. And sometimes the guys be a little over the top. I got one homie that lives in Atlanta. He's Muslim, but he took me one time, but I didn't know what they were saying, but I went because I thought it was dope and I was being respectful.
Because it's in Arabic.
Yeah, I don't speak Arabic, so I just went to be respectful, but somebody has to teach you what does this stuff mean, and I get the discipline of the 5 times a day because when you're praying 5 times a day, you don't have time to be a dick or a jerk and be mean. I get it, and I want to learn. So it's just
people find time. Don't you worry, Ron. They find time for those prayers. Don't you worry. Listen, I know people. I grew up with people in Pakistan who prayed 5 times a day, and turned out to be pedophiles. So there's also that. There's always
browser history.
There's always room for pedophilia. So there's always the after hours.
Yeah.
So that's not really a thing for people. But man, that's so she's born and raised in Eritrea. Is that it?
She was born in Eritrea. I think she used to live born in Sudan, but raised in Eritrea, and then moved here when she was like 8 or 9.
Okay, so she's
County.
So is she in entertainment also? What is she
doing? No. My wife, she actually works at a plastic surgery office.
No way, that's amazing.
She knows all the secrets. She knows all the secrets.
You were like, I was not going to marry a stand-up comic. That is.
Oh no, she was like, I'm not doing that. You people with your entertainment stuff. You people, you Hollywood guys, you know how you are. You sharmutas.
Sharmuta, indeed, man.
You sharmutas.
Listen, man, I could, with all due respect, man, I couldn't marry a male comic. I couldn't do it. It's just, it's just like conflicting.
I couldn't marry a female comic at all.
It's a negative on that
at all. I couldn't do it. I don't want nobody trying to chase these lights. It's too much.
It's too much conflict, man. It's too much chaos. 2 people.
And then the emotional weight of it comes with depression. All the no's you hear and you don't process, especially if you're not feeling and you're just moving and performing and you hear no all the time and you don't take it in and take time for yourself because you're trying to chase this dream. And I can't take a day off. What if the day I take off, somebody's in the crowd and can make me famous and blah, 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 it's a producer, director, and you want to be on suicide watch because you don't give yourself time to feel, chasing the dream. So
yeah, absolutely.
And have 2 people like that?
No, fuck that. No. Screw that, man. No. I'm not.
No parts of it.
I think for me, it's just like I just kind of bear the brunt of it on my own. I'll come home. I'll cry it out. I'll go for a long walk. I'll play with my dog, whatever it takes, just trying to get my mind off. But I mean, I hope to God that I do find that partner soon, and that partner is waiting for me like I'm waiting for them. So I hope that happens sooner than later.
Right.
But man, this has been amazing. Ron, where can we find you? And tell us a little bit more about your podcast, please.
Okay, a few things I got going on. One is I have my own podcast called the 2 Piece Podcast, the number 2 PIECE podcast. It'll be a picture of me in the Bad Boys pose with my co-host on the front cover. We're on iTunes, Stitcher, and I think Spotify as well. 2 Piece Podcast. Also, I have my own game show called Couples Couch. Me and my wife do it every Thursday. You chance to win cash and prizes. It's a game show to find out how well you work with your person, how well you know them, and if you even like them. Every Thursday, Instagram Live, 7 p.m., Couples Couch. Also, on Sundays, I do Virtual Chocolate Sundays, which is me doing the Chocolate Sundays that we do at the Laugh Factory online. It's a really dope show. We got a DJ. We've had over 100 people last few weeks. Dope environment, dope crowd. A lot of really funny comics. And last but not least, please be sure to follow me, Comedian Ron G on everything. Comedian RONG. Also go to my YouTube page, which is Comedian Ron G. But if you go to my Instagram, there's a link tree thing that has all my social media on it. You can just add me from there.
Okay, that's awesome. No, I'll follow you on YouTube, and if you have a moment, that'd be awesome. If you can like it back and I will follow it back. But I definitely I'm gonna share this with you, so you can share it with your folks if you want to.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. But man, Ron, you are awesome, man. Thank you so much. You know how
you
much
are too. I'm glad we had a chance to do this. I feel like we've known each other for a while, but we never had a chance to connect.
Exactly. Today's like actually the first time we actually got to talk and have this kind of. It took a fucking pandemic for us to do this, Ron.
Right. We're like first cousins now. Ain't nothing you can do about it.
Listen, I want to do nothing about it but to keep it is what I want to do.
Right. I got you. I'm the brother that would support you.
Amen, brother. Amen.
The rest of them trash. All y'all trash. Absolutely.
I love you, man.
That's steward in your soul. Support your sister, man.
You got a sister here that always will love you and support you and respect you and, always, man. I got you. You're the best, Ron. I adore you.
I appreciate it. Have a good one.
Thank you, too. Take care. Bye. That was my boy, Ron G. Did you guys enjoy this? I honestly, it was such a beautiful and spiritual conversation that I feel rejuvenated. Like I was feeling tired before, but then Brother Ron came along and then just rejuvenated me. So I feel really great. So if you guys haven't subscribed to my channel, please do. You can also find this on Spotify, iTunes, Apple Podcasts. You can go on Minority Reports with az.com and find all of this good stuff. I will see you guys on Monday. Have a great weekend. Please stay safe. Wear your masks. Wash your hands. Social distance. I will see you guys. Have a lovely evening.